And hopefully we will be able to meditate on it, reflect on it, and hopefully it will help us transform ourselves, and in this way purify ourselves. So we will begin with Mangala Charan. Om Agyantimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणसिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे तृणादपि सुनिचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानेन मानदेन कीर्तनीया सदा हरि. One should chant the holy names of the Lord in the humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street, more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige. One should be ready to offer respect to others and expect none in return. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy names of the Lord constantly. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी शृण्वतं स्वकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तनः हृदयन्तस्थो हयभद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सताम् यस्यं वै श्रूयमानानं कृष्णे परमपुरुषे भक्तिरुत्पाद्यते पुंसा शोकमोह भय अपः. So welcome to Bhakti Shastri Unit 2. This unit will be very back and forth conversation. So keep yourself unmuted. I will first begin with a question posted by Vijay Gaurang Prabhu. Thank you for putting your full name. I appreciate it. So Prabhu asked a very beautiful question. Let me just pull out the question. Bhakti Shastri. So the question was, I have a basic question for our teacher regarding chapter 7. How do we refer to the following when asked for the words? So
In
Dushkritinah or
Sanskrit.
in Sanskrit, Dushkritinah or Dushkriti, and then Sukritina or Sukriti. So one of them, when you add Dushkritinah, it becomes more like an adjective, and Dushkriti is more like a noun. So Dushkriti means anyone who is with impious intelligence or impiety, and Dushkritinah means people who are with impure intelligence or impiety.
would we be judged because of that if during an exam? Does it have to be very, very specific?
Uh, I it would be good to actually mention words which are backed by the intention. So if you were intending to mean that you were referring to the people with impious intelligence, then you should use word dushkritinaha, meaning a plural form. If you were intending to mean that one person, one specific person is dushkriti or with impious intelligence, then you can use the word dushkriti.
Okay,
So
thank
it's
you.
a plural and a singular thing.
And the same for Suskritin, of course.
Same. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, so we proceed further. So the way generally this goes is we revise all the things we had done in the previous session, and then we move on to the previous things, previous sections. So, what do you all remember from the last session? Any reflections, any thoughts? Did you spend any time during the week reflecting on whatever we went through? First 19 verses.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh
What do you
my goodness.
remember?
Um, it's really difficult to put into words. This chapter is basically about, uh, the coming chapter is about the remembrance of Krishna. It makes the distinction between people who surrender to Krishna and those who do not surrender to Krishna.
Mhm.
Um, oh, that's all that's going to come to my head at the moment. I might
Okay,
think of
no
more
problem.
afterwards.
More things will come. Yeah, Roshni Mataji, you have what do you remember from this chapter? Anything that comes to your memory?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, the four types of people who don't surrender to Krishna, like,
Mm,
and the four types of people who do come to Krishna. And I remember the examples that you gave. I think one was Gajendra, who was
yeah,
in distress. I don't remember the
that's okay.
names clearly, but I remember the examples.
Examples. Good.
And the Gyani was like Shukdev Goswami, and
Mm,
the one seekers of wealth like Dhruv Maharaj,
mm,
and
mm,
the inquisitive type.
mm.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. That's a very good remembrance. Bidisha Mataji, anything that comes to your mind?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Um,
Hare-
chapter, I think I'm just reading the notes that I captured.
Okay,
Um,
wonderful.
uh, so you talked about in the, and again, forgive me if it's incorrect, like of my understanding. So who Krishna is, you talked
Mm,
like chapter 7, then chapter 7 to 10, you said, and chapter 11 deals with the real vision and partial vision of Krishna as he truly is. Then chapter 12, he said how to love and serve Krishna and who
one,
Krishna loves. You
yes.
also touched a little bit on the benefits of regular recitation, like how it
Mm,
destroys impurities, our ignorance, how it strengthens our devotion, and how it gradually helps us towards devotional service to Krishna.
beautiful.
Then you talked about Krishna, the process of understanding, like from where we should hear about Krishna, like either we hear
Mm,
directly or from his pure devotees.
mm,
Because
mm,
if we hear it from the regular YouTube, some people like
mm,
other content creators, it doesn't help us in understanding Krishna or what the spiritual sound of Krishna means and
mm,
everything. Then you talked about certain like Krishna's material energy And you touched upon like 5 gross elements like earth, water, fire, air, ether. You talked about 3 subtle elements like mind, intelligence, and false ego, and how our
Yes.
soul misidentifies with matter and is illusionary conception of like me, I, mine. And you talked about like the false ego and how it affects, and you touched on the 10 senses, like nose, tongue, eye, skin, ear, hands, feet, voice, anus, genital. And you also told us like we humans are superior energy of the Lord, so we are spiritual in nature. But right now we don't understand that why we have this ego, but because we are in control of this material energy. And but you also touched upon like living entities are always controlled by Lord. They have no
Yes.
we have no independent existence, and we are never equally powerful as Lord, because some of the theories talk about that. And
Yes.
yeah, and you also said Krishna is not under the modes, but modes are under his control.
Correct.
You touched about the Sharanagati, surrender. You
Yes.
in what modes we are. So you touched about like, I talk about like, okay, I'm a Brit or I'm an Indian or German.
Mm,
You
mm,
talked about like Brahman, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, who is
mm.
animalistic and not, when not in modes either. I'm a servant of Krishna, and most of us like servant of Krishna, servants. And then
Yes.
as Vijay Prabhu talked about Sukritina and Sukriti, Duskriti, you talked about the types of Bhakti, Kevala Bhakti, and Pradhani, Bhita Bhakti, and Guni Bhuta Bhakti, I think. And forgive me,
Yes.
Prabhuji,
No,
I'm still
that's perfect.
learning. And you talked
Wonderful.
about the rarity of pure devotees also.
Mm.
You touched about it, and you said
Yeah.
if this or and you also touched upon if this is goal achieved by Krishna devotee, what happens to those who worship demigods or other
Damn.
devas? Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. That's a very good note
Yeah,
that
that's
you have
very good
made.
notes. But
Very.
did you also mention that Mataji said now the Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti in Sanskrit also? Because Paraprakriti are the living entities, no?
Yes.
Yeah, and Aparaprakriti, that's the hold on a second, the 3 modes and
Uh,
illusion.
pa- Paraprakriti means,
Aparaprakriti, yeah,
yeah, Paraprakriti means under
the
the mode,
living entities.
and Aparaprakriti means one which is which has transcended the material nature. So originally living entities are Aparaprakriti, meaning they are not belonging to the material modes. But now somehow we are under the influence of Paraprakriti or under the modes.
I'm getting confused. I thought Aparaprakriti were the negative things, the 3 modes of material
It's
nature, and
it's really it's really how you put it into a context. So essentially, if the context you use is para, if you just take the word para, and
mhm,
para means transcendental. So
okay.
living entities by their own nature, they are para prakriti, meaning they are transcendental themselves. Um, and then apara means one that is not transcendental.
Okay, so that's
So
simple. So not the 3 modes of material nature, not under Aparaprakriti, and then we have hatred and desire,
this
and
correct. That's,
that creates illusion. That
hmm.
those things are under Aparaprakriti, no?
Y- Yes, yes, I think yes.
Okay.
Apara Prakriti, I think is para means transcendental, one which is
Mm-hmm.
beyond, and apara means one that is not beyond, which means material modes, which means material. So
Yeah.
we are actually para Prakriti. I think you are right. We are actually para Prakriti, but unfortunately we are controlled by apara Prakriti.
Yeah, we're influenced by
Influenced
Aparaprakriti.
by
That's right.
apara. Yes,
I was
yes.
getting confused there.
Yeah, I got confused as well. Wonderful. Okay, so that was really beautiful, all of you, to have actually remembered, made notes. So I really appreciate that. Nonetheless, we'll go through what we actually did, and so we started with saying, that we quoted some famous philosophers, and we said that just by us listening to what the great philosophers of the material world have said, we can know what kind of persons they were. So we mentioned about Aristotle and all those people, Socrates, Plato. So you can know a person by what they speak. So similarly, in this seventh chapter, this middle portion of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is speaking directly about himself. So actually, you can know Krishna. Just understand how powerful this. You can know Krishna by reading these chapters 7 to 12. How powerful is that? You want to know God, just listen directly from God or his pure bona fide representative. So in these middle chapters, this is a direct talk about himself. You can also know someone from what other people who are connected to that person say. So this is something that Plato, a student, would say about Socrates. Similarly, Aristotle would say about Socrates. So similarly, if you have to know Krishna, you can also know about Krishna from his pure devotees like Shukdev Goswami. And actually, pure devotees can tell you about Krishna even more than what Krishna will tell you about himself. So, books like Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, they are even more sweeter. They are even more powerful ways of actually knowing about Krishna. Even Mahabharata is knowing about the activities of Krishna. So, from Srimad Bhagavatam, we can know Krishna more. And then we were speaking about the glories of this middle section, which Bidisha Mataji, you very well captured in the notes. In this session, in this 7 to 12 chapters, you will know the essence, which is, and the essence, and that's why it's called the cream of the Bhagavad Gita, and the essence of knowledge of God, God beyond demigods and powerful beings, a person God, and Bhakti as the topmost. Hence, this is the cream of Bhagavad Gita. And if you didn't understand this section, then you will not get Bhagavad Gita. It's so important. It's so nourishing section of Bhagavad Gita where you can be in relationship with this section of Bhagavad Gita, like actual relationship. So these are the who Krishna is and all his different aspects, partial vision of Krishna and real vision of Krishna, and person Krishna beyond doubt. In these chapters between 7 to 12, you will know Krishna beyond doubt. And then to top it all up, Krishna tells you how to love and serve him in these chapters. And most importantly, Krishna tells you who he loves. So therefore these chapters are very enlightening, enriching, and fulfilling to the heart. And this is the Falashruti. So every chapter of Bhagavad Gita gives a benediction to the reader, or the person who is studying it. And the benediction, these benedictions, Lord Shiva is telling to Mother Parvati in Gita Mahatmya. Mother Parvati asked Lord Shiva, if I have to read one book in my entire lifetime, which should be that book? And then Lord Shiva mentions to Mother Parvati that Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Gitam. That if you have to study one Shastra, then that should be Bhagavad Gita, the book which was of Devaki Putra, which means Krishna's Gita. So one who studies or listens to the seventh chapter with, and now we are speaking specifically, we were speaking of the section, now we are speaking of the seventh chapter. One who studies or listens to the seventh chapter with devotion is freed from delusion. If you just make a note of this point, is freed from delusion and attains unwavering faith in the Supreme Lord. And regular recitation of this chapter, it destroys ignorance, strengthens devotion, and leads the seeker to bhakti or devotional service to Krishna. And then this is the key for the 7 chapters. We discussed first 3 portions, and the verses 1 to 3 we were specifically speaking that just the knowledge about Krishna is so glorious. Not just about Krishna, but any knowledge about Krishna is so glorious. And then Krishna goes on to speak about his energies, para prakriti, apara prakriti. And then once you know Krishna with his energies, then you have this awe in your heart that, oh, this is such an amazing personality. So Krishna kindly speaks about, okay, I am so much, but then how to come to me, how to come to me. And how to come to Krishna is basically Sharanagati. So This is what Krishna discusses in 13th to 19th verses. And then today's sections is essentially Devavad or demigodism and Mayavad or impersonalism. And then how to transcend Mayavad and come to the level of Bhakti. How to transcend impersonalism, come to level of Bhakti. These are the two sections we'll cover today. But glory of knowledge about Krishna, from the 6th chapter, last verse, one of the most important verse in 6th chapter, Krishna is essentially telling Arjuna, be a yogi. And he's not asking him to be an ordinary yogi. He's wanting Arjuna to become a yogi who is concentrating and focusing his mind on Krishna always. Mad gatena, abiding in me, and antaratmana. Antaratmana means in his constant consciousness, in his mind, intelligence, and his consciousness. So this is the kind of a yogi Krishna wants Arjuna to be. And to become such a yogi, the most important thing is hearing. So here in this word chapter begins with this mai asakta manaha. So Krishna says mad gaten antaratmanaha, that your manaha, your atman should be focused in me. And how it should be focused in me? By becoming attached. Your mind should become attached to me. And yogam yunjan, you should be practicing bhakti yoga and you should take shelter of me. And without doubt you will completely know me. And how and when will this be possible? Only by hearing in this fashion. So, and what is the fashion? With your mind attached to me, taking shelter of me, practicing bhakti yoga. If you do these three things, then you will simply know me completely without any doubt. So these three are critical ingredients to actually knowing Krishna. And we were then discussing about do hear directly from Krishna or pure devotees. Do not hear from someone who is an upstart or very puffed up. They are sometimes very professional speakers. They know when to cry, they know when to laugh, and they can make audience take through this whole emotional rigmarole. And then the audience also loves it because their emotions have been touched or their hidden emotions have been allowed to come out. So instead of hearing from such upstart or such people who can take you on emotional rigmarole, it is much better to hear from pure devotees who will actually build up your sentiments over a long period of time, backed by hearing of Krishna from pure devotees, but also backed by devotional service, which means seva, and over a long period of time. So this is very important to actually hear from pure devotees, because pure devotees will not manipulate your emotions. They will not make you just sentimental devotees. They will make you authentic, genuine, and fixated devotees. And when an authentic, genuine, and fixated devotees get emotions, those emotions are bona fide emotions. And these emotions come after many, many, many years of practice. But if you see generally an upstarts, in the very beginning of their life, they will declare themselves as to be the great devotee of Krishna. Sometimes they will weep. Sometimes they will speak very sentimentally and emotionally. And uh, and maybe maybe they love Krishna very much, but their emotions are not backed by persistent, constant, and consistent devotional service or seva. So if there is no persistency, consistency, and constant attachment, then that devotion is not considered to be matured, or that devotion could be just at the mental or sentimental level. And we can find many such devotees when we meet people. So hence it is said that hear from pure devotees, because pure devotees are first going to tell you about worshipping Krishna, getting engaged in some devotional service, and the most difficult part is to actually be a devotee in the long run. It's easy to become a devotee in the beginning, but then it becomes very difficult to be a devotee in the long run. And that is the most difficult part. And when you go through this phase of continuously being a devotee for long run, meaning 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, then the real gifts of devotional existence starts to come to you. And the joy in the heart and everything is felt. And all of this happens because you continue to hear from a pure devotee, not from some academic scholar, not from some puffed up upstart, not from someone who has got 5 million followers on YouTube. So this is the difference. And we then also discussed what is the process of hearing. Shrinvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha. So if you hear about Katha of Krishna, if you hear Katha of Krishna, what will happen? First, this Katha of Krishna is Punya Shravana Kirtana. All the hearing and kirtan of Krishna is Punya. Punya means the bank balance, the spiritual bank balance, which is very difficult to get rid of, very difficult to get rid of, and it is long lasting. So then what happens if you do this punya activity of hearing and kirtan of Krishna? Then what will happen? Hriday antasto hai abhadrani. Whatever abhadra, whatever material dirt which is unwelcome, which is you are accumulating on a day-to-day basis, this material dirt will slowly start to become cleansed. Hmm? Vidhunoti shruhit satam. Suhrit means attentive hearing, and satam means pure devotees of the Lord. So if you hear Krishna Katha from pure devotees of the Lord, then the heart will start to become clearer. And then what will happen? Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavat se bhagavate uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. You will develop your dirt from the heart, all the things which are difficult and stored up in your heart, and they are actually troubling you, they will almost be destroyed. Someone's at my door, and I'll have to go and attend to them. Sincere apologies. I'll be back in a moment. It can take some time. I think it could be people from RSA. You know, they come precisely at a time when you don't want them to come. So bear with me, please. Hare Krishna. Sorry, my apologies. It was not someone from RSC, it was someone else. So so we were started we went through the process of hearing. When we actually start to hear properly, the bad things from the heart goes away. And what will happen is all the things which are troubling us, which are stored in our heart from many lifetimes, they are almost gone. It doesn't say completely gone, it says they are almost gone. 99% gone, 1% it could be still lurking. So Nityam Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir. And what happens when lot of it is just gone? Then your devotion becomes steady. You are not then dependent only on your mind. You know, mind can make you move away from devotion. If someone tells you, speaks with you harshly, if some leader comes to you and asks you to do something which you don't want to do, and if you are at the platform of your mind and intellect, then mind and intelligence can cheat you. But if you have been doing bhakti for a long time, then you will become a naishtik bhakta, which means you will not, your devotion will be like deeper depth of oceans. It will not be the surface of the ocean. Surface of the ocean can move because of the waves, but when you go deep inside the water, then whatever is happening on the surface doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect your devotional service. So you become a steady person doing steady devotional service, inside a circumstance, inside an environment where things can be moving, may not be moving according to your desires, may not be very conducive to you, but at least you're very deep and you don't let all the things happening around you affect your devotional service. So this is Naishtik Bhakta. And then what happens when someone continues to do this? Then the effects of Rajas and Tamas, which is the mode of passion and ignorance, they slowly start to go away. And your desires, material desires, they start to go away. Chetaitir anavidham stitam satve prasiddhati. And your mode of goodness becomes increased, and then finally you basically remain steady in the mode of goodness. And when you cultivate this mode of goodness alongside the devotional service, because devotional service is the most important, and the byproduct is this mode of goodness comes to you. And in this state, what happens? Evam prasanna manaso. Your mind becomes very happy and joyous. In what way? Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogata. It becomes very joyous thinking of the devotional service. There are many people who devotional service, and every time you think of the devotional service, if you're becoming in your mind, if you're becoming like, oh my God, I have to go again. So that you have to understand that you have not attained that state of love. Because for devotees who have been practicing for a very long time, devotional service for them is about Krishna, and they feel some joy. They feel some joy thinking about the devotional. There may be physical aspects of devotional service which might be a little bit troublesome, but at the end of the day, they think, oh no, when Krishna will lead this, ah, I will feel so happy. Or they think, oh, when Krishna will wear this dress, or they think that, oh, when Prabhupada will hear this score, I will be so happy. Prabhupada will be so happy. And so eventually they could have some external material distresses, but eventual goal is that, okay, when they have the connection with the person, and they think that the giving joy to that person is even more pleasurable than the distresses that they get from their material things that they have to do to achieve those things. So this is the state that the bhakti yoga then gives them pleasant mind. And then in such a state, Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam, the Bhagavad Tattva, meaning what is in factuality, who is God, what is God, and that they come to know, they get Vijnanam. We also studied Jnanam and Vijnanam. Jnana means theoretical knowledge, and Vijnana means realized knowledge. So then they get realizations from within the heart. In this elevated state of constantly be happy in devotional service, they get lot of realizations from within the heart. And in that state where they become full of realizations, then they become mukta sangasya jayate. They become free from all kinds of false associations. Hmm? And then what happens when they become freed from all kinds of false associations and everything? Sarva upadhi, all the positions they are freed from. Vidyate hridaya granthi. The main reason we are stuck in this material world is we have this hard knot of lust, greed, anger, envy. It's a knot. It's like a thread which has gone in and we can't untangle it. It's a hard knot. And it's called hard knot of material existence. Prahlad Maharaj also speaks about this hard knot. So what happens? Vidyate hridaya granthi. Vidyate means bhedan. Bhedan means to pierce. So this hard knot, it has to be cut. It cannot be untangled. And so it has to be cut. So vidyate hridaya granthi. And then chidyante sarva samshas. All doubts are cut into pieces. The hridaya granthi is also cut into pieces. Kshiyante chasya karmani drishta evatmanishware. And then such a person who is then cut, his all the hard knot of existence has been cut from their hearts, then they can constantly see Krishna, love Krishna, and be with Krishna. So this is a simple process to becoming the most elevated, advanced devotee in constant consciousness of the Supreme Lord, through very simple process of hearing Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this is the process of hearing, which is described in the beginning of Bhagavatam. And here also Krishna is telling Arjuna, touch Renu, hear attentively. That's why Krishna is stressing, hear attentively. So the question I may ask you all is, are you hearing attentively also? Or sometimes it's sleepy. If you feel sleepy, then interact with me. But try to be attentive, because the 11th offense in chanting the holy names is inattention. So if you feel sleepy, if you're distracted, come back and converse, because by conversing, the inattention can go away. So this is how the hearing was important. And if you hear properly, then there is asamshayam samagram mam, which means without doubt you will attain the result. And then next verse we discussed jnana and vijnana. Jnana means knowledge or theoretical knowledge. Vijnana means realized knowledge. And with realized knowledge, there is some level of grounding. You become down to earth as a human being. But with just jnana, if someone has just knowledge, if just someone knows all of Bhagavad Gita and they have recited all the verse, they know all of Bhagavatam, they know all of Chaitanya Charitamrita, but actually they have not gotten realization from the Supreme Lord, then they can become very puffed up with Sanskrit, they can become very puffed up with just general knowledge. But also, even if they are not puffed up, at least they will develop a sense of greatness for the Lord, and they'll develop some respect for the Lord, some awe for the Lord. That is also at least better. But Vijnana is the best, where you, after acquiring knowledge, you have continued to do devotional service. And by doing devotional service, now you are getting realizations from within your heart. And this will actually lead to love and devotion. Jnana just leads to respect and awe, but Vijnana or realization will result in love and devotion towards the Lord. So this is realized knowledge is very difficult to get. Rarity of realized knowledge. There are many kinds of living entities. Here Krishna says, that who knows me in truth is someone who comes to this realization. And we discussed about animals are there, human beings are there. Among human beings also, a lot of the human beings are at the animalistic platform. So self-realization is difficult to get. Then someone who wants to be in knowledge about God, that is higher, but they also don't know God. Then there is people who actually are at Paramatma realization. These are the people who go to Himalayas and they do meditation there, and they're focusing on their inside their heart, and they're trying to realize God. And so that is also, Krishna says, such people also don't know me. So actually, who knows Krishna? Only the people who Krishna wants him to know, basically. So only the devotees of Krishna can know Krishna, because Krishna is benevolently inclined to his devotees. So this is the verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Rupa Goswami
Can
says,
I
no
ask
one
a
can understand
question?
Krishna. Yes,
Can
please.
I ask? Yes. Is this related to? I was just thinking about it now. Ooh. Well, I have to come back to it. I can't think of what I was just about to say. Sorry.
No problem. No problem. So we're just summarizing what we did in the previous session. No one can understand Krishna as is by blunt material senses, but if he reveals himself to his devotees, being
Right.
pleased with them for their transcendental loving service. So if you do loving service to Krishna, it's very simple. If you love, if you are a very nice pupil, a very nice child for your mother, then the mother thinks, oh, he's such a nice girl, such a nice boy. They will cook items that you love or you like. So this is a very natural
Related
reciprocity.
to? I'm sorry. Is that related to Yoga Maya?
Yoga Maya?
Yeah. Krishna's internal potency or something. He doesn't reveal himself.
Yeah.
This section that you're talking about now.
No, that is going to come now in future verses.
Okay. Sorry.
No problem. So then Krishna. So first three verses, Krishna is speaking importance of the knowledge about him, Jnana and Vijnana, and how difficult Vijnana is, and is glorifying. Who can actually know Krishna. What knowledge can lead one to Krishna, and only Krishna can give that knowledge. That's the glory of the knowledge about Krishna. And then from fourth verse onwards, Krishna describes his material energies. So earth, water, fire, gross elements, subtle mind, intelligence, false ego. And Krishna describes his material energy, then Krishna describes his spiritual energy, para prakriti. And so para prakriti, besides the inferior and unconscious energy, know that there is another superior energy, para conscious energy of mind. So this jiva, Krishna explains at the same topic, paraprakriti or paraprakriti, is where jiva, they have been caught in the material modes, and so they have become subservient. So jiva is also called tathashta shakti, or marginal energy of the Lord, because although spiritual and can control the material, the jiva sometimes comes under its influence and becomes conditioned, forgetting his real spiritual position. And this is essentially, I am matter and material acquisitions are mine. This is the mentality of someone who is in this kind of mode. And then we discussed that living entities are always controlled by the Lord. They have no independent existence. Now, this statement that they have no independent existence doesn't mean that Krishna doesn't give jivas independence. Krishna gives us full independence, but it means that we have no independent existence. If Krishna, we can't, just like sun rays cannot exist without sun, similarly we as jivas, we the energy cannot be existing without the energetic. So we have no independent existence. We always are somehow connected to the Lord. But Lord is very kind. He gives us full independence. When I say full independence, it means free will. Krishna gives us free will. So they are never equally powerful as the Lord, as unintelligent men think. So we are never, ever, ever equally powerful as the Lord. There is a difference in quantity. And then Krishna goes on to explain that he is the creator, destroyer, maintainer of all the universes. And this is one key verse where I was trying to explain how strings theory of the material scientists also function. And here Krishna says, Sutre Mani Ganaiva, that just as the thread which passes a necklace can't be seen, but the necklaces can be seen. So similarly, Krishna says that I am maintaining this all cosmic manifestation through my energy, but no one can see that energy. They can see many, many planets. And this is also what modern scientists come to an understanding, this fabric of space and time, which is not seen. And this is also what Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita. So here Krishna reveals, the cosmic fabric essentially. And then verses 8 to 11, this is the aspect of Krishna's material energy. Krishna is telling that he is the taste of water, I am the light of the sun and moon, I am the syllable Om. Om is actually the Vedic mantra, and it's also called the first letter or the first sound that ever was created. I am the sound in ether, I am ability in man and woman. I am the natural fragrance of earth. When first rains come, then there is a natural fragrance that comes out of the earth. So that is called natural fragrance. I'm heat and fire, I'm life of all that lives, I'm austerity of all ascetics, original seed of all, and I'm the intelligence of the intelligent. So if someone is very intelligent, you can see that actually Krishna has empowered that person. I'm the prowess of all powerful men. I'm the strength of the strong, which is free from selfish desire and attachment. Hmm? Strength of the strong. So oftentimes when someone becomes very strong, then they become very selfish. Huh? And they are attached to material enjoyments. So Krishna is clearly mentioning here kama raga vivarjitam, that balam balavat cha aham, that I am the power of the strong. And but what kind of strong person? Who is free from kama and raga. Kama means selfish desire, raga means attachment. Vivarjitam. Vivarjitam means one who is giving it up. So a strong person who is selfless, and such people are very attractive in the material world. Someone who is very strong, but seeing that they are so selfless and so detached up, because they become very attractive. So Krishna is saying that is me. Dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamo asmi bharata rishabha. I am sex life which is not contrary to religious principles, O Lord of the Bharatas. And here we discuss that sex life for creation of children is permitted, because this is how we give living entities, souls who are stuck in the material creation, an opportunity to experience matter, and in that way also an opportunity to come in association with devotees, and getting an opportunity to actually learn about the Supreme Lord. So it's called not Darwin's theory of evolution, it's called Vedic theory of evolution and going back home, back to Godhead. So this is how religious sex life is not it's not an hamper to your existence if it's used to procreate children who can become God conscious. And then finally, after describing the material energies, Krishna then explains about Sharanagati, that the jivas are deluded by the modes and thus cannot understand me, who am untouched by the modes and inexhaustible. So when in modes we divide ourselves, we become divisive, and everything is about us. But when we are not in the modes, then we realize that we are just a small cog, in this whole creation of whole universal machine, and we are just a small cog. And then we can see ourselves as servant of Krishna or servant of Krishna. Um, Krishna mentions about who can transcend this Maya of his. The living entities, this is the discussion we had earlier also, that no one can trace our history because we are humans. We are stuck in this time conception that everything has a beginning, middle, and an end. But in spiritual world, time is conspicuous by its absence. These are the words of Srimad Bhagavatam. When I first heard this conspicuous by its absence, I couldn't get any of it. I didn't understand its meaning. Conspicuous by its absence, it basically means time will manifest if there is a need. If Krishna thinks that, oh, I want to perform some pastimes in the morning, like with Mother Yashoda getting up, and so suddenly the climate and the time will change, and suddenly it will become morning. So the time works per the desires of the Lord. So time is conspicuous by its absence. So the conception of time doesn't exist in spiritual world as it exists in the material realms. So hence we can't understand our own histories, how the soul has come into existence. We learned about guna, also called rope, and so we are tied by this rope of gunas or the modes of nature, and only Krishna, not Lord Brahma, not Lord Shiva, only Krishna, someone who is taking shelter of Krishna, can very easily cross over this Maya. And this Maya that we are speaking, the specific Maya that Krishna is speaking here, is called Mahamaya. So if you take shelter of Krishna, then Krishna will bring you from Mahamaya to Yogmaya. And in this way, you will be able to come back to Krishna easily. Even Lord Shiva says that I can't give mukti, I can't give any liberation. So there is no doubt that Vishnu is the deliverer of liberation for everyone. So only Krishna can actually give you liberation. And then we came to the famous things that everyone actually remembers: four types of people who never come to Krishna, and four types of people who come to Krishna. So impious who do not surrender into Krishna, four types: Mudha, or animalistic fools. Mudha literally means fools in Sanskrit, who work hard solely for material sense pleasure. So, you want things in life, so you just work very hard. You have no interest in spiritual life because you just want sense pleasures. Nara Adhama, lowest of mankind, humans who lose their chance to revive their lost relation with God, they give up bhakti even after practicing it. So this is a very distressing category, that you can't actually. So you start practicing bhakti, but then you still give up the bhakti, because you can't give up your old tastes. You can't give up what you did previously. Then there is Maya Aprita Jnana, or deluded speculators. So these are the people who are with great intelligence. They study a lot of scriptures, and if you go and speak to them, then they will speak to you about Vedas. They will pick up one verse from the Veda, and they'll speak very Sanskrit about this and that. But if you ask them about the essence of all the Vedas, then they will say, "Oh, essence of Veda is not very clear. You can do this, you can do that. You can also do this. You can also do that." So they don't have a conclusion, or they have conclusions which don't lead you to God. So this is their jnana has been aparita, means kidnapped. That's why they are called Maya Aprita Jnana, or Jnana, a person whose Jnana knowledge has been kidnapped by illusion. So Maya Aprita Jnana. Aprita means kidnapping, and or loss. Jnana means jnana, knowledge, and Maya means illusion or delusion. So, and the fourth one is asuram bhavam ashrita. These are basically the atheistic, envious people, envious people who don't want God in existence. So modern curriculum, is very much like this educational system. It wants to eliminate God from existence. They just want to teach us that the whole civilization had come from apes, because whoever created this kind of a curriculum, They were actually envious of God. They didn't want God in the whole existence. They never, and therefore in US there was like a clash, uprising, and two schools of thought came about. One was called this kind of Darwinistic educational system, which is minus God, and then another thing was called intelligent design theory, which is IDS or ISD something, where they said, okay, no, everything has to come through some intelligence, and that intelligence is God. So these are the four categories. Important to understand them in reality, in plain English, as to what these people are. Muda, animalistic fools. Naradhama, people who become devotees, but then they give up devotional existence because of their lacking or attachments. Maya aprita jnana means persons whose knowledge has been kidnapped. So they're very knowledgeable, but the knowledge has been kidnapped because they just want too much knowledge and they have some false ego. They think God to be an ordinary human being. And then last one, someone who is envious of God, means they don't want God. So then there are unauthorized interpretations of Gita by these scholars outside the parampara system. So outside the disciplic line, there is many interpretations. Um, and Prabhupada, when he came to West, actually, he saw in the West all the Bhagavad Gita copies were all impersonalistic Bhagavad Gita copies. So he had to write a Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada originally first came with Bhagavatam set, but then he had to write Bhagavad Gita because he couldn't find any Bhagavad Gita which was as it is, which was presenting Krishna as Krishna wants to present himself. So Prabhupada had to write it, and Prabhupada mentions this in the beginning introduction of Bhagavad Gita. Supreme Lord cannot descend upon others, make him subordinate. So these are the categories, of thought processes. Some of the religious systems, they say that, oh, Supreme Lord can't come in the material world. Why can't he come in the material world? Because our scripture says that they can't come in. Okay, your scripture says it, but if your scripture says that the Supreme Lord can't come into the material world, then you are imposing on the unlimited God, who is unlimited, you're imposing an idea and limiting him by your own idea. So that, what does that mean? That means that the God of your book is limited because you are saying he can't come. No, but God is unlimited. If God is unlimited, he can do anything and everything he wishes and desires to do, which means if he chooses to come to the material world, then he can come to the material world. But they say, no, he can't come because it's written in our book. Okay, so there is dogma and they cannot go beyond, they can't think logically, basically. And they, therefore, all the religion that they describe, it doesn't pass the test of logic. It doesn't pass the test of common sense, and it doesn't pass the test of, um, you know, um, like rigor in grammar and rigor in language and rigor in logic. So a lot of these religions and the books from those religions, they present God in very limited ways. And then there are four types of Sukritina, people who worship and eventually surrender to Krishna. So Artha, distressed. Gajendra was distressed. Jignasu, or inquisitive, and the Shaunakadi rishis were inquisitive. Artha Arti, or one who is desirous of wealth. So Dhruva Maharaj, who was desirous of a kingdom greater than his great grandfather. And Gyani, seeker of knowledge. So Shukdev Goswami, the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, is one such. Now, in these four types, we discussed of the Sukritinas. These Sukritinas, they are called Sakama Bhaktas. Sakama means someone who has desires. So they approach the Lord with some desires. Sakama. Kama means desires, and Sakama means one with a desire. So these four are called Sakama Bhaktas, and they have a desires. So they approach the Lord with some desires. And there are these types of bhakti. Kevala bhakti means one pointed focus. Tasmad ekena manasa bhagwan satava tampati. Tasmad, therefore, ekena manasa, with one pointed attention. Bhagavatam declares that how to do bhakti. Bhagavatam explains the way to do bhakti is tasmad ekena manasa, with one pointed attention. Tasmad ekena manasa, I forgot the verse. So with one pointed attention, Bhagavatam declares that you have to do Shotavya Kirtitavyascha Dheya Pujascha Nityada. So you have to do hearing, worshipping the Lord and meditating on the Lord. Nityada means always. So one pointed focus and one pointed attention is very important, and that is used referred to here by the word kevala bhakti, or unalloyed devotional service. And then when someone is of this type of kevala bhakti, they don't have any selfish motives. They are not called sakama, they are called vikama, sorry, nikama. So they don't have any kamas, they don't have any desires for themselves. So this is a very high level of bhakti, and such bhaktas are also called akinchana bhakti, or one who has nothing and want to ask nothing from the Lord. Or they are also called Uttama Bhaktas, or the topmost devotees. Ananya Bhaktas, meaning their devotional service doesn't have need anything secondary. They have everything, which is the Lord who is the primary. So Ananya Bhaktas. And so then, so this is the highest category, and from this category, which is akinchana bhakti, uttama bhakti, ananya bhakti, kevala bhakti, one pointed attention, one pointed devotion to the Lord. Then there are devotees who have some material desires, but they are also devotees. And in this, there are two types, which is pradhani, primary, and gauni, which is secondary. So you can just understand these two categories of sakama bhaktas as primary and secondary. So primary Bhuta Bhakti, or Pradhani Bhuta Bhakti, is the category of devotees who say that, okay, I have material desires, but Krishna is first. Primary is Krishna. And second, Gauna Bhuta Bhakti, or secondary type of bhakti, is basically, these are the people who say that, okay, I have material desires, I'll fulfill my material desires, and Krishna, I will also do Krishna consciousness. So Krishna consciousness is secondary for them. Primary for them is their material desires. So their material desires take over, and Krishna consciousness becomes secondary. And this happens with a lot of devotees over a long period of time. You know, if you are in Krishna consciousness for a long period of time and you don't continually associate with pure devotees of the Lord, then your bhakti may become Gauni Bhuta Bhakti. Meaning, you know, so you suddenly your material desires overcome, and devotion goes in the background. So you aspire to become Kevala Bhakti, or the pure devotee of the Lord, with one pointed focus, one point, but actually you are in the material world, and slowly you are slipping towards secondary devotion. So of the four types of good people who come to Krishna, Krishna says that Gyanis are the best, because they come to Krishna for knowing Krishna. And even among the Gyanis, the one who is doing devotional service to Krishna, along with the desire of knowing Krishna, Krishna declares that they are the topmost. Upon further advancement, he knows Brahman and Paramatma. When fully purified, he realizes that his constitutional position is to be eternal servant of Supreme Godhead. So this Jnani, it's a very high category where the person is actually wanting to know Krishna, but then if this Jnani is also rendering some seva, some devotional service, that becomes very top notch. Why does it become very top notch? Question.
No material desires.
Sorry, they have no material desires. Yes, good. They only want to know Krishna. But but such a Jnani, when they also do devotional service, when they also do seva, they become very top notch. Why that happens?
They're constantly thinking of Krishna.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's the answer. Because they are now engaging their mind and consciousness in Krishna, their intelligence and mind, they're engaging that in Krishna. They're constantly able to think of Krishna, because Jnani is getting the Gyan, and then he is using that Gyan to actually serve the Lord and do some seva. So in this way, they become a topmost devotee of Krishna. And see the beauty of Krishna, or so-called God Krishna, that people understand, this, they think of him as a man, but Krishna is declaring that whoever comes to him, they are all great Mahatmas. Krishna is not saying that, oh, someone who has come to me for money is a bad person. He's saying, no, they are also Mahatma. Why they are Mahatma? Because they are at least coming to Krishna, who is the Supreme Lord. And who can come to Krishna? Bahunam janmanamante. After many, many births, Gyanman mam prapadyate. One who has come in some knowledge, who has gained some knowledge of Krishna or as the Supreme Lord, only they can come to Krishna. So when someone comes to our temple to see the Lord, we don't consider them as an ordinary people, because somehow or other they have had some knowledge of Krishna. They are exalted people because they have come to the lotus feet of Krishna. They have come to the lotus feet of Krishna. So they are very exalted personalities. Even though externally they could be very materialistic, they may have material desires, they may want to become free from distress. It said in Kali Yuga, 95% people come to Krishna because of distress, because Kali Yuga gives so much distress. And these category of people are also very exalted. So anyone who comes to a temple for money from Krishna, for distress relief from Krishna, or they're just inquisitive, or someone who is a jnani who wants to know about Krishna, all four are called Mahatmas, and all of these Mahatmas are great personalities. Jnani is the topmost. Even amongst the jnani, any jnani who's actually along with Gyan is doing some devotional service to Krishna, some seva, actual seva to Krishna, they go on to become even the best. And then we discussed rarity of the pure devotee, that after many births, Bahunam Janmanam Mante Gyanva Mam Prapadyate Vasudevam Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Su Durlabha. Not Durlabha. Durlabha means rare. Su Durlabha. Su Durlabha means very rare. So it's a very rare case of a pure devotee. So this is where we stopped. And the question then was that if this is the goal achieved by a pure devotee of Krishna, what happens to other people, who don't worship Krishna, who worship devtas or demigods? Any questions so far? Any thoughts before we begin session 2 today?
Yes, I'm sorry, I always have a question.
Please.
So I've been wondering this for a long time. If somebody, what you just spoke about, implies that people that come to the temple, they've already had something in the past, some kind of experience. But for some people, there must always be a first time. So that, if you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. Like there must be a first time that someone comes to a temple or has
Yes.
something about Krishna. And
Yes.
this always, everyone always says, yeah, but you've built up something in the past. But there must be
Yes.
some people that haven't built up anything. Or
Yeah.
some.
So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he says that nothing is by chance. There is no such thing as luck, and there is no such thing as chance. So people say, oh, by chance I happen to be passing the street and I happen to be, but in reality it's the Paramatma within their heart made them to pass through that street where they actually hit Harinam party.
Okay.
So this is where their Sukriti is built. This is all thanks to Prabhupada and all thanks to our acharyas. They are in a transcendental mission of building up Sukritis of lost and fallen souls. Today is the appearance day of Advaita Acharya, and he also initiated the same line, same movement, where we are building Sukritis of people. There is going to be first time for someone, but that someone has come to first time because they have been very pious. They have been either devotional, and if they have not been devotional, if they have nothing, they have had something done in their previous lives, because of which Krishna within their hearts as a super soul somehow or other bumps them into a devotee, and all their sukriti starts building up immediately as soon as they hear the holy name, or they hear a devotee, even meet a devotee. Even sometimes they curse a devotee, their Krishna might actually give them benefit of it, depending on how they do it. If they really hurt the devotee and devotee is actually giving some negative energy, then that person is at a loss. But if the devotees are non-envious and they have mercy and compassion, like the way Advaita Acharya had on the people of Kali Yuga, then even though the persons may be like anti-spiritual life, anti-God, still, Lord Chaitanya gives them mercy, and their Sukriti
So
is built up.
they might have built up something that touches what I mentioned that's coming soon, Punya Karmana.
Punya karma. They have built the punya karma. True.
Okay.
Like philanthropy, they must have given water for to someone to drink, and in their extreme thirsty situation, they must have made donations for good causes. So all of that builds up their piety. All of that builds up their sukriti.
Okay, thank you. I've been really trying to go through the chapter this week, so maybe I jumped
Wonderful.
the gun a little bit. I'm sorry.
No, no, no. This is good. This is good. Okay, so what happens to the people who worship the demigods if the destination of pure devotees is so high? What happens to people like us who are not fully there? Who have still some attractions for getting some material, squeezing out some material benefits from the nature. Prabhupada often uses these words. We are exploiting the material nature. That's quite intense. I'm not exploiting the material nature, I thought, but after second thoughts, after thinking of myself, I realized, yeah, I was actually exploiting material nature. So what happens to people who are worshipping, different demigods? So those who does worship demigod worship, and what's their purpose? This is what the 20th verse explains, that someone who's Kamas tete hrit jnana. Because of the material desires, their knowledge is covered. Hrita jnana. And they surrender unto anya devataha, meaning those who are demigods. Now, understand that if you're coming from an Indian background, if you're actually coming from India, the word demigod is kind of an insult. I don't know how many of you realize this. If you use the word demigod, so the people in India will say, what do you mean demi? What do you mean demi? They're all gods. They're all God. What do you mean demi? And there is this argument which goes back and forth. Because Prabhupada was the first person who actually made this term very famous, demigod. And actually, it's not a derogatory term. It just goes to say that they are not gods. They are partial gods. They are not full gods. They are not like God, basically. And people in Indian backgrounds or in Indian families may feel a bit offended when they actually understand this, the meaning, because they think everyone is a god. All the devatas, all the demigods, they are actually god, they think. But so people, they go to demigods when they have some material desires to be fulfilled. They don't go to demigods otherwise. um, so what does Bhagavatam state? Bhagavatam state that whether you have material desires, whether you want moksha kama, all you have to do is do tivrena bhakti yogena. You have to do intense devotional service. Can someone tell me why the word intense is used here in Bhagavatam? It could have just been bhakti yoga, right? Just do bhakti yoga, whether you have material desires, whether you don't have material desires, just do bhakti yoga and everything will be all right. But the word used is tivrena bhakti yogena, meaning intense devotional service. Why is that the case?
Does that mean maybe because you should be deeply conscious when you're doing service of Krishna? That's all I can think of.
Yeah, okay. Vidisha Mataji, Roshni Mataji, any thoughts?
Um, I don't maybe because uh, so I'm like in bhakti again. I don't know. Like I'm trying to reason it out. So in
Yeah.
bhakti yoga, you're not asking anything from him. You're just telling every day is yours day. I'm just looking for your shelter, and I
Hmm,
love you the way you are. I mean, like just nothing else in this world matters.
hmm, 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 hmm,
You don't even ask for moksha or anything. I'm like, doesn't matter what you think is right for me.
hmm,
You just do that for me, and every janam I should be able to remember you and render this service forever. Something
hmm,
like that. But I think if it is intense, so that means I know that the material energy is owned by Krishna,
hmm,
and I'm already serving him. And if Krishna thinks that I need any material blessings, he will anyway give me. So maybe I'm asking for something more, and I don't think that it will suffice for me. Whatever by devotion I will get. So I'm asking for extra points. So somewhere I feel like I don't trust what will come to me naturally or how he will sustain me, protect me, and therefore I'm looking for more devotion. I don't know. Like
I see.
again, as I said, like I was
You have
just
open
thinking,
questions.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
you
like
have.
thinking, like, so I don't
Makes sense.
trust him, so I'm thinking this will help me. And
Mm,
when it is material, I wouldn't go for money or anything. For me,
mm,
material is maybe something like I'm looking for good health of my husband,
mm,
but I'm not
mm,
considering him as a fellow traveler in this
mm,
journey. And
mm,
so I'm asking for more, or maybe I'm fearing something. So that again, it's a kind of an attachment, right?
mm,
So
mm.
I feel like a bit of mistrust, so I don't know.
Okay,
Like
okay.
I'm not trusting, so I'm looking for more and more intense division. Give me this. I don't own this
Mm,
benediction. Give me more, something like that.
I
Again,
see, I see.
Prabhuji, I don't know. Like I was thinking as you were saying.
No, no, good. This is what we want, right? Bhagavad Gita has
Mm,
to be understood through intelligence. This is the
mm,
last, comes in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Anyone, Krishna says, anyone who has studied this book with you, their intelligence, they have worshipped me even more better than what you worship Krishna in the temple. They have
mm,
Krishna says worship me with their intelligence, basically. So you have to question, reason, and that's why Bhagavad Gita is there. It's very unlike any other scripture of other religions where you can't question anything. Hmm?
mm,
So and all the thoughts are welcome. Roshni Mataji, why does here,
Mm.
it is said in Bhagavatam to do intense bhakti yoga, intense devotional service. It says that whether you have a karma or whether you don't have any karma, or whether you have all desires to fulfill, all material desires, or even though you might want moksha from the Lord, he says, in all cases, just do tivra bhakti yoga, intense devotional service. Why the word intense is used?
Does it fall into karma mishra bhakti?
Okay. Okay. They are saying whether you're doing want to do karma mishra bhakti or
Mm.
whether you want to do whatever kind of bhakti, just do intense devotional service. That's what the verse is
Mm.
saying. See, here we are discussing about people who worship demigods, and the reason people worship demigod is because they want something from demigods. You go to Mother Parvati so that you can get good wife. You go to Surya Dev so that you can get good health. You can go to Mother Saraswati if you want to become very learned person. Huh? So like that, you can go to different demigods for something. And Bhagavatam verse is saying that okay, you may have many desires, or you may have no desire, or you may even want moksha. Whatever be the situations, just do intense devotional service to the Lord. This is what Bhagavatam is saying. So why is it asking to do intense devotional service? Not why just not devotional service?
Um, I'm not sure. I'm just thinking about it.
Okay. That's the idea, is to make you think. Okay, I'll not give the answer. I will. I'll ask this question again in the next session. So you have a good week's time to do your research. Okay, I'm making a note of it. Okay, so who worships demigods? Generally, people who are in the lower modes of passion and ignorance. People who have not cultivated sattva or the mode of goodness, they will worship demigods. If you go and take a look at a lot of the followers of Lord Shiva, they say, "Oh, Lord Shiva, he took this, this bhang. So we can also take drugs, and we can also take bhang." And like that, although the consuming bhang drugs, these are not good. These are not good for health. They will not bring you in sattva. They know it very well. Still, they will justify it in the name of Lord Shiva. And actually, Lord Shiva is free from all the modes. He's in Vishuddha Sattva. He's in constant devotion of the Lord. All these material things don't affect Lord Shiva, but to us, it affects us. But such people who follow Lord Shiva, they are generally in lower modes, mode of passion or mode of ignorance, and they follow various recommendations of the Vedas, because you have so many desires. In the Vedas says, oh, if you want good health, go to Lord Surya, go to sun god, and sun god will give you good health, like that. So someone who wants naturally good health, they will automatically go to Vedas. So why would someone come to the Supreme Lord if they can see that, okay, they are getting what they want from doing this thing? Then they will just go and do that thing, and there is no point for them to come to the Supreme Lord, because all they are interested in is that one thing. They are not interested in Supreme Lord. So therefore, they have material desires, and therefore they are called kama. They have lot of desires. And then they think that demigods are better than Supreme Lord also. There is many categories of people who will think that Lord Ganesha is the supreme personality of Godhead. Whereas Lord Ganesha, he broke his teeth and he wrote Mahabharata. So use your logic. Anyone who is serving the Supreme Lord by breaking their own teeth and writing Mahabharata for the Supreme Lord, can they be Supreme Lord themselves? Common sense says no. But still, people don't want to apply their brains. There is very famous Sai Baba in India. Have you heard of it?
Yes, Prabhu.
So that Sai Baba, he is pointing upwards, finger upwards. He's saying Sabka Malik Ek. That everyone's master is one. That's what he's saying with his finger pointing upwards. His pictures are also painted like that. So he's pointing and he's saying that I am not God. God is above, and that God is one for everyone. He didn't point it like this, but still people worship him as God sometimes. They, instead of going to God, they go to him. Nothing against him. But he didn't speak from the Vedas. He didn't speak according to the line of disciplic succession, and therefore you can't consider such a personality as God. Yeah, they may be some devotee of God or whatever they may be. I don't want to get into the details. I know exactly what he was, who he was, and what he did, but not for this session. But essential point to take from this conversation is they think that some human beings or some demigods, they are better than the Supreme Lord, and because all they want is material desires. In fact, I'll tell you, one of my childhood friends, he is following someone, um, in New Delhi area essentially, and the way they worship is you just go and to their place and they will give you samosas and tea to eat and drink. And what is their process of bhakti? Or just remember the person. They worship this person, and that person called himself Lord Shiva, and possibly showed some magic, and then um, they say that just remember this person and you will be freed. You will have moksha and you will have everything. Is devotional life so cheap? Is devotional life so unscientific? Is devotional life so, therefore, because there is no knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, anyone can be fooled easily. And unfortunate situation is no one wants to take time like you, all fortunate people, to actually scientifically understand God. See, science comes from Krishna. Krishna says this in future chapters, and we'll read. So if science comes from Krishna, then using science, you should be able to reach Krishna, right? And therefore, you'll see in ISKCON some of the greatest molecular biologists, some of the greatest scientists, they have come and become sannyasis. They have come and become devotees. Why? Because when they were studying their physics, their molecular biology, when they're studying their subject matter very deeply, quantum physics very deeply, they realized that actually Krishna has mentioned all of these things in Bhagavad Gita. The father of quantum mechanics, he read Bhagavad Gita, and he mentions this in his biography. Similarly, Newton, Einstein, they all read Bhagavad Gita. So the point is that people who worship demigods, they have some material desires, and so sometimes they can also think the demigod to be higher than the Supreme Lord. And then verses 21 and 82, Krishna says, what is the result of demigod worship? He says, if someone is actually worshipping the demigod, authentic demigod, properly, then Krishna helps them by steadying their faith. I don't know if you have come across, someone who is a very ardent worshipper of a demigod, say Ganapati. You know, come what may, you tell them anything, they will continue to worship Ganpati because their faith has been made steady. Hmm? And because if what happens if their faith is not steady? If their faith is not steady, then they will not be able to develop a relationship. Imagine, you are in relationship with some person, and that person is supposed to do something for you, but they don't do it for you. They always are very dicey. They go away. They don't tell. They don't communicate. So your faith in that person reduces. You don't have so much trust left in the person. So similarly, a worshipper, for them to be persistent, and you will see that, a lot of people in India, a lot of people, they get up in the morning, and the first thing they do is they, before starting their business, they will show incense to their business, specifically their box where they collect money, and the photo of the different demigods. Nothing wrong with it. But essentially, their faith is steady, that okay, their business and everything is going okay because demigods are happy. So they do this day in and day out for many, many years. What happens if you do the same thing for many years? You will become strong hearted in that. My spiritual master says that if a drop of water is falling on the mountain, for few days, nothing will happen. But if the same drop falls on the mountain for 20, 20, 30 years, you will see that that big rock disintegrates into a small rock. This is a fact. So this is what happens. People who continue to worship demigods over a long time, their faith becomes steady in that demigod. But in actuality, whatever benedictions they are asking from Ganpati, Indra, Surya, Jhulelal Baba, or Sai Baba, or this Baba, or that Baba, whatever they are expecting or asking from them, only Krishna can sanction them. Only Krishna can give them. This is what Krishna is mentioning in Bhagavad Gita, but in actuality, it is I who bestow those benefits. So why does Krishna facilitate demigod worship then? Question to you. If Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna is saying all of these things. Why is he saying that I help them and make their faith steady in a demigod? So why is Krishna facilitating this demigod worship?
Maybe because ultimately they'll come closer to Krishna. Maybe.
How? Okay. Huh? Bidisha Mataji, Roshni Mataji, any thoughts?
Is it because they fall into the different modes?
They fall into the different modes.
To elevate them. So.
Yeah, but how does worshipping a demigod elevate them to higher mode? If you are worshipping someone in the lower mode, see, all the demigods, they are affected by some modes. Like Lord Ganesha is affected by mode of passion and goodness.
At least they're worshipping someone.
Yeah, maybe it's a
Okay.
progress towards, like slowly material detachment will
Wonderful.
happen, and those demigods, whoever we are worshipping, they will help you elevate you a little bit, not only always material gain,
Beautiful.
they will inject a spiritual awareness, and maybe you will try to search for more understanding, try to yearn for association, and from there we have heard, like, I can tell you myself, even though I was born in a Vaishnava family, Gauriya Math and all that, but after I used to have Ganesha, and I still have, because I'm a Bengali, I have Ma Kali and everybody, but now I see them as an essence of Krishna. I'm able to worship them as Krishna, but I didn't have that view. And I feel like maybe Ganesha or Ma Kali, they have helped me come back to Krishna where I was born, and now I'm into Krishna. So maybe it helps you in getting spiritual understanding slowly.
Beautiful answer, Mansi. Very beautifully said. And this is the correct answer. When someone has a steady faith in the demigod, then they basically ask material things from the demigod. And demigods, they are empowered to give those material things if the worshipper has sincerely practiced according to the rules and regulations, sincerely practiced the devotion to the demigod. So demigods, they are bound to give them. It's not that it's optional for the demigod to give. If you have done something following the rules and regulations, the demigods are supposed to give you. So when a worshipper of the demigod continues this process for very long time, many lifetimes also, so they keep asking from the demigods, the things material desire. At one point in time, the worshipper themselves become completely fulfilled from that demigod. They say, okay, I don't want anything from you. That is the stage they reach. So they stay. This stage comes after many lifetimes, and they say, "Okay, no, no, I've worshipped you. I love you. I don't want anything from you." This happens, right? You see your parents or you see your loved one and say,
Yeah.
"Okay, I don't need it. You are there with me. I don't need anything.
Yes.
I just love you."
Yes.
So that is the eventual state they reach. And in this state, when they reach this state, when they don't ask or don't do any business from the demigod, this is when the demigods give them what the demigods themselves love the most. And all demigods, they are actually the worshippers of Krishna.
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 Hmm. So eventually, all of these demigods, they give their worshippers what they themselves love the most, which is Krishna. This is a very famous story of Lord Shiva. There is a great Kashmiri devotee of Lord Shiva. So he worshipped in Kashmir. Most of the people, the Kashmiri Pandits and others, they worship Lord Shiva. So this very famous devotee, he worshipped Lord Shiva very with great devotion, and his devotion was so deep that Lord Shiva appeared to him. And Lord Shiva is called by the name Ashutosh. Ashutosh means someone who is easily pleased. So he's called Lord Shiva because he's easily pleased on his devotees. So he appeared and he asked this meditating devotee for some benediction. Lord Shiva told him, please ask something from me. And Lord Shiva said, and then this devotee said, no, I don't want anything from you. You have appeared. I love you. Everything for me, my desire is fulfilled. I just wanted to have association of you, and I got it. I don't want anything from you. But Lord Shiva says, no, 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 I have to give something. My name is Asutosh. I must give something. So this person becomes confused. He says, I don't want anything. I just like Lord Shiva. I just love him. So then he tells Lord Shiva that, okay, you can give me something that you yourself love the most. So this was a very interesting thing he asked Lord Shiva. And then you know what Lord Shiva told him? Lord Shiva told him, okay, travel to Brindavan, go into this forest, and underneath this tree, there is a deity who I worship constantly. So this person from Kashmir, all the way in the north, traveled to Vrindavan and went into the forest and dug up, the ground underneath the tree, and he found the deity. And it was a very beautiful deity of Radha Krishna. And this Kashmiri Pandit, then for rest of his life, he worshipped this deity. And so this is what happens when you become a devotee of a demigod with steady faith. After many lifetimes of seeking something material from the demigod, you are tired, but in the meantime you have developed a relationship. Imagine you have to go to the same boss every day for next 10 years. Of course you will have a professional relationships, but you will also develop some personal relationship with the person, no? That as to who he is or who she is, and who is in the family, the name of the children or name of the friends. So that personal relationship develops with the demigod, and then the demigod, you have no desire for the, and the demigod then helps you give Krishna to you, because eventually Krishna is what they have. So another question is, God gave independence to everyone and doesn't interfere with it. So as super soul is in everyone's heart, he understands the desires and facilitates and directs them to particular demigod. So Krishna is actually also helping sometimes his devotee, the individual souls to go to a particular demigod. If you are in too much in the mode of passion, and then you will go to a specific demigod like Indra. If you are too much in the mode of goodness, you might actually go to Ganesha. Passion and goodness combination. If you are very much passionate and power driven, then you might end up with Mother Durga. So depending on your modes, depending on your desires, Krishna may actually put you to a specific demigod, because Krishna may know that you're not ready for the Supreme Lord, because you're not selfless, you're desiring some material benefits. So Krishna may also help you, um, but eventually all the boons that they get from demigod, Krishna has to sanction them. Hmm? So now, what are the results of worshipping demigods? This is the result of worshipping demigod. Any questions so far? Any thoughts? No. Okay. So this is the results of worshipping demigods. Men of small intelligence worship the demigods, and the results they obtain are limited and temporary. This is two words are so important. Limited and temporary. Hmm? Those who worship the demigod go to their planets, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So, what's the problem with going to the planets of the demigods?
Repeated birth and death.
Repeated birth and death. Why?
Because the results are temporary. So repeated. So they're going to retain. They're going to stay in the material world.
So they're going to stay in the material world. Yeah, that's true. There, because the planets of the demigods is in the material world, so they're going to stay in the material world. Yes.
Yeah.
Any other
Yeah.
answers? What's the problem with going to the planets of the demigods?
They don't go to the spiritual world. I'm sorry.
Okay. True.
Or when there, it's like a scoring, right? After your pious deed scoring is done, you're back to the material world.
Yeah, that is a beautiful answer. You Shinna Punya Martya Lokam Vishanti. When your punya is shina, when all your scoring comes back to zero because you have enjoyed the bank balance which was already there in your kitty, you spend it all, then Martya Lokam Vishanti, you fall back into the material planets and you have to struggle again for material existence. Wonderful answer. Yes. Roshni Mataji, what's the problem with going to the planets of demigods?
Yeah, I agree with everyone. Just that is temporary, so you come back. It's not the highest goal.
Exactly. You also understand that the demigod themselves are temporary, because a lot of the demigod, they are positions. Most of the demigod, they are positions. Indra changes every manvantar, every life, every single day of Brahma. There are 72 cycles of Mahayugas, and every yuga has a different. Every Mahayuga has a different Indra. So Indra changes. Similarly, all other demigods, they change. Different people take the positions up. So their plan, and also all of their planets are inside the material realms. They are not in spiritual realms. They are not vaikunthas, meaning free of anxiety. So you have anxiety in the planets of demigods, because demigods also undergo anxiety. Indra is always under the fear that some demon may attack and take over the Swarga Loka, or the heavenly planets. So there are anxieties, there are kunthas, and so all of these planets are in the material world, so they're temporary. Even the demigods are positions. So all of that is temporary. So there is all good answers. So this is why, and then why are demigods called less intelligent or alpa medasham? Sorry, why are devotees of demigods called less intelligent or alpa medasham?
Because of what
So if,
you mentioned above, because the results they obtain are limited and temporary, and
exactly.
they don't realize Krishna, and all of the demigods they worship Krishna anyway.
Exactly. So all the devotees of demigods, they are called alpa medasham, less intelligent, because actually the results that they get from the demigods are temporary and also limited. Why would you get something which is temporary and limited? you know Say something is limited, so you are satisfied with that limited thing, but then that limited thing, you are satisfied with that but that is still again temporary, meaning it is going to not be with you in some time. So why would you be settling for anything which is one limited, and then to top it up it's temporary? If it was unlimited and temporary, then also there is a problem. right? It only if it is unlimited and permanent, then it's a better situation, it's the best situation. So um so this is why the devotees of demigods are less intelligent, because they are settling for something which is limited and temporary. Hmm? Another question to you is, aren't demigods Krishna's limbs? Krishna says that all the demigods are my limbs. And Krishna being eternal isn't the worship of his limb eternal? All the demigods are actually part of universal management affairs of Krishna. You know, Ganpati manages intelligence. Mother Durga manages, people who are too much materialistic desires. Mother Saraswati, she manages learning. Brahma manages creation. So all of the demigods are actually managing the universal affairs of the Supreme Lord. So they are called limbs of Krishna, and Krishna himself is eternal. So aren't Krishna's being eternal? Mm-mm. So isn't the worship of his limb eternal? So
No,
worship of
because
demigod is. Mhm.
it's serving the whole. The limit of serving Krishna. They're
Yeah.
serving the whole.
So
Uh,
so isn't the worship of his limb eternal then?
uh,
So it's like I'm worshipping your hand and you are the
if I,
whole, right?
yeah. So if I chop off my hand, the rest will still be there.
Yeah, but then if you chop off all the limbs of your body, then there will be no you, right?
Yeah, okay.
So the simple question is, Krishna is eternal. Isn't the worship of his limb eternal?
No, I don't know why then.
Okay, so it's a tricky question, just to see, allow you to scratch your brains and think a little bit more deeper. Vidisha Mataji, Roshni Mataji, any thoughts?
Uh, they're part of the universal form, which is also temporary.
Mm-hmm. They're part of the universal affairs. They're temporary, yes, but the limbs, meaning that position, is permanent, right? The position of intelligence, the department of intelligence, is permanent department. There will be Ganesha in every single universe, different Ganesha. The department of learning is permanent. That limb of department of learning is permanent. So Mother Saraswati in different universes will be different personalities, but position is eternal. So the question really is, if I'm worshipping a demigod, isn't the worship of demigod eternal? Because actually that demigod is part and parcel of Krishna's universal management system. There is a very famous thing that if there is a Krishna's original form in the spiritual world, but the deities in our temples are, as they are directly Krishna. And common example we give is that if you post, there is a post office, but there is this post box. If you want a letter to go to the right destination, you can either go to the post office, which is directly the Krishna himself, directly to God, or you can go to a post box. Post box means a temple, means an outlet from where Krishna is directly accessible. Putting a letter in a post box, authorized post box, is same as putting a letter in post office, correct? So so same principle here. Krishna's limbs are there, and Krishna is there. Krishna is eternal, and Krishna's limbs are there, and Krishna's limbs are demigods. So worship of Krishna is eternal, we know that. Directly going to post office, putting a letter, we'll know the letter is going to go to God, to the destination. So worshipping Krishna directly is makes sense. But then if limbs are also eternal, then why isn't worship of the limb eternal? Do you get my question?
Yeah.
Roshni, Vidisha, do
Uh,
you get my question?
yes, Prabhuji. Yes, but do we think like they are the limbs of Krishna? And what about who is holding his heart? Radharani. So we don't talk
So
about heart. So we
I
talk
I
about
I
limbs.
I'm just speaking of Krishna's universal body. Krishna has different
Okay.
types of body.
Hmm.
You When you start reading Bhagavatam, you will realize that one of the bodies of Krishna is called universal body. So, like earth, water, different universes, rivers flowing, and all those, they form the universal limb of Krishna. All the demigods, they are the limbs of Krishna. Like hands is there generally used to do action, you do something. So Indra becomes like the hand and all those things. Demigods like Indra. But what you're speaking of is Krishna's Swarupa, original internal potency and internal form, which is, Ladini Shakti, Suradharani, and other gopis, and this and that. So that is a different topic, much deeper topic. This is ABCD. We are speaking of basics. That Krishna is the universe. He is actually the original universal form, and demigods are limbs of Krishna's universal body. So if Krishna is eternal, then why are his limbs? Is the worship of his limbs eternal or it's not eternal?
It will give me material gains, something which is perishable,
Yes, yes.
but not.
So is it simple question, simple answer, yes and no? Isn't worship of his limb eternal? Isn't worship of demigods eternal? Demigods are limb of Krishna. Krishna is eternal. So worship of Krishna is eternal. So worship of his limb, is it eternal? Yes or no?
Uh, I'm ignorant, but I feel like it feels like worshipping the limbs doesn't give me eternal, does not give me
Okay.
the 100% potent that I need to be free. Of course, I
Okay.
need to be at his feet, but when
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to consider, am I even considering, like, I don't know when I'm worshiping demigods, when we start just worshiping demigods, at that point of time we don't know the limbs. Later
Mm-hmm.
we realize everything is his appearance in different forms and shape and
Correct.
benedictions.
Correct.
But I
You're you're
like,
you're you're very close to answer actually.
but somewhere I don't know, everything is eternal, but somewhere I feel there is an element of perishable and material thing when I'm just
Hmm,
thinking. I
hmm.
don't know. I'm like, Prabhuji,
Okay.
I'm too ignorant on this to learn
No,
this.
no, it's okay. It's just
Is-
a thought
Isn't it?
process.
Isn't it a
Hmm.
fact that Krishna creates everything? He also
Yes,
creates his limbs.
yes, yes.
So what's the point in worshipping a demigod if Krishna? If you worship Krishna, you're worshipping the demigods already.
Yes, yes. But if you're worshipping the demigod, are you worshipping Krishna?
No, no, no,
But the but
not
the but the, but the limbs are eternal.
indirectly.
So demigods are, the position is eternal.
Is it? Is it really
Yeah.
eternal? If Krishna doesn't want it to be eternal, it won't be.
Yeah, but all the universal affairs of Krishna, they're eternal, right? In the cycle of time, it's cyclical. We all go into the tummy of Krishna and then we come out of the tummy of Krishna when Mahavishnu exhales. So all the
Mhm.
positions are recreated. Different living entities will enter the positions. Different living personalities will become Saraswati, or they'll become, Surya and all those things. But the
Are,
positions
are
are eternal.
demi Okay, are demigods in the material world or the spiritual world?
Demigods are in the material world. The positions are in the material world.
Yeah, well then that's already part of the answer, no? We want to go back to the spiritual world.
Yes, so spiritual world is not never destroyed. Material world is destroyed, but then recreated again.
Yeah, but okay, I'm stuck also.
Okay, okay, okay. This is meant to be like this. So sorry for the mental torture. Roshni.
Um, Krishna has his personal form, and then
Yes.
his um, and then his partial manifestation, and then this
Hmm.
is part of the partial, so it's not exactly
Okay.
yeah.
So should we worship the part and the parcel, or you're saying don't worship the part and the parcel?
External energy or something. There's our external energy, even though internal, but external energy. So should
We
we?
are also, in that sense, they are also Tathastha Shakti. We are also Tathastha Shakti. They are just Tathastha Shakti at a higher level. meaning that we are all marginal energies. They are also jivas, we are also jivas.
Yeah.
Only Lord Shiva is not an ordinary jiva. Other than Lord Shiva, every other position is fulfilled by a jiva, including Lord Brahma.
I bet you
Okay,
the
so
answer to this is
Okay,
going to be so
okay,
simple.
okay. I'm going to answer the question now.
yes,
Seeing that I've troubled your mind so much, my sincere apologies.
no, it's a good
Okay.
exercise, Prabhuji.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a very good exercise, thinking through deeply.
Yes, this is what Bhagavad Gita is, to
Mm.
understand scientifically. So Krishna is eternal and Krishna's limbs are also eternal. So worshipping of Krishna is eternal, and actually worship of the limb by itself. So worshipping just my hand is not eternal, but worshipping of my hand in relation to me, meaning I worship this hand because this hand belongs to me. Does this make sense? So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I worship you, Ganesha, because you are actually connected to Krishna. You are
Mm.
connected to the Supreme Lord and you are the very good servant of Krishna. So this mode of worship is still allowed because this kind of worship has a knowledge of relationship. You can't just worship the hand by itself. If you worship the hand by itself, that's foolishness because hand can be cut. But if you worship the hand in relationship to the person who has the hand, then your knowledge of relationship is complete. So therefore, why I wanted to ask this question and torture your minds is there is in ISKCON, when ISKCON started in the early days, you have to understand that we started in the Western world, and in Western world there was only monotheism. Monotheism means one God, right?
Mm.
This one person, one God. But if you came to the eastern part of the hemisphere, then there were so many gods and so many things. So when ISKCON started with understanding that okay, Krishna is the only God and no one else is important, no one else is like God, so we should not respect them.
Mm.
So lot of the people in Krishna consciousness, uh, we don't worship demigods, but we don't have a problem with the worship of the demigods. But we do respect the demigods because we know demigods in relation to the supreme personality of Godhead. This in relation to supreme personality of God, this is not understood properly in ISKCON. So you will find camps in ISKCON where you will find someone utterly disregarding demigods or chastising them and calling them like lowest among mankind. But you will also find a category of devotees in ISKCON where they have a mature understanding of demigods, that demigods are not to be criticized, worshippers of demigods are not to be criticized. Worshippers of demigods lack some information. They lack information of relationship of the demigods to the supreme Lord, relationship of the hand to the body. Does this make my point clear?
Yeah,
Yes, Prabhuji.
So we are not anti-demigods. We are not anti-demigod worshippers. We have no problem with someone worshipping the demigods, but we have a compassion for them because they lack the relationship of the connection of the demigod with the Supreme Lord. And that's why this question is very, very important. That demigods are limbs of Krishna and worshipping demigod in that relation. So, do we go to the temple of Lord Ganesha and worship Lord Ganesha? When a devotee of Lord Krishna goes to the temple of Ganesh, we pay obeisances to Ganesh. We glorify Lord Ganesh that you are such an amazing devotee of Lord Krishna. You wrote Mahabharata. You worship Lord Shiva, O Ganesha, because Lord Shiva is the best of the Vaishnavas. He is the
Yes.
best of the devotee of Lord Krishna. With his four mouths, he's constantly chanting with his five mouths, he's constantly chanting the names of Lord Rama. Hmm. So you are such amazing devotee. In fact, Lord Shiva, you are the topmost devotee, and Ganesha, because Lord Shiva is the topmost devotee, you worship Lord Shiva. All are such amazing devotee family. Please give me some devotion to Krishna. You can bestow it on me. This is a loving relationship of a Krishna Bhakta with all other demigods, because Krishna Bhakta knows that all the demigods are actually devotees of Krishna only, and they are all serving Krishna. and they are higher beings, they are at higher level. Oftentimes also we blaspheme Indra, like Indra steals, Indra has a fight with Krishna on Parijat flower. Indra then steals, then Indra troubles Krishna in his pastime. He sends this Samvartaka clouds to destroy Brajbasis, and Brajbasis are very, very dear to Krishna. So then, we as devotees, we are looking down upon Indra, and we are, Krishna, Indra is also having some of the pastimes with, with Apsaras and this and that. So we think of Indra very negatively. But actually, if you read Brihad Bhagavatamrita, though in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Narad Muni is trying to find the best devotee of the Lord. And amongst the list of the best devotees of the Lord, one such person is Indra, because Indra in the heavenly planets, he is utilizing all the resources to worship the Supreme Lord Vishnu. And when the Lord Vishnu is coming to him personally, because Indra is also called Upendra. So sorry, Indra is not called Indra is the brother of Upendra. So Vaman Dev, he became brother of Indra to help Indra, to protect Indra, like that. So Indra utilizes all his paraphernalia to worship the Supreme Lord, and when the Supreme Lord is coming, he is weeping, and Narad Muni is glorifying Indra for his good qualities, and he's calling him the best of the devotee. And then Indra says, no, 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 I'm not a good devotee. I sometimes harm the Lord. I sometimes do this. I sometimes have these bad things. We steal away, send showers to Brajbasis. I harmed them. Actually, the best devotee is Lord Brahma. So all good devotees feel that they are not good devotees. They feel that some other devotee is a better devotee. So same qualities of Indra are also mentioned. But of course, Indra does some things wrong, because Indra has some desire for material enjoyment. So therefore, we don't worship Indra, but we regard him in great honor and great respect. So we don't similarly, and this is why I'm taking so much time to explain this topic of demigod worship, because you will find in ISKCON that we have a set of people who are completely anti demigods, and then we have a set of people who are like, fully like national unity or international unity. They have all the things on their altar: Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Ganpati, and Sai Baba. No, that is not recommended. Recommended process is worshipping the Supreme Lord directly. This is what Prahlad Maharaj says. Adha, he uses the word Adha in Srimad Bhagavatam. You must have heard this famous verse, right? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Pad Sevanam, Tasyam Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. Iti Pumsar Pita Vishnu, Bhakti Che Nava Lakshana. And then he says that these are the 9 processes of devotional service, and everyone is entitled to do these processes directly to the Supreme Lord. There is no need of getting guidance or this and that. You can hear directly of the Supreme Lord. You can directly speak of the Supreme Lord. There is no restriction on you in these 9 processes. You can directly choose to do any of them. So similarly, one is supposed to directly worship the Supreme Lord, and less intelligent people will worship demigods, and there is no problem with their worship. They lack some knowledge, so we have to have compassion, and if they are open, then we can give them information that about the Supreme Lord. And if they are not in a position to take that information, then let them continue to worship the demigods. After many many lifetimes, or even in this lifetime, when they are fully satisfied, they will ask nothing from the demigod. And when they will start to love the demigod, that time that demigod, that devata, will actually guide that person to come to Krishna. Make sense? Any thoughts, any questions?
Maybe, but I don't know if it's relevant. Tell me if it's not relevant. Being raised here in the West, and how would I show respect to a demigod if I was in India? I mean, maybe I would be with friends or family and or whatever, and you end up and they worship Kali or Durga or I don't know, Ganesh, whoever. I mean, I'm only familiar with worship of Krishna.
Yes, so then you continue to the worship of Krishna, but if they are worshipping Kali and others, we devotees see all the demigods through the lenses of Srimad Bhagavatam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Jada Bharat, when he was attacked by dacoits who were about to slay his head and offer him to Mother Kali. Mother Kali, who was a deity, meaning in the form of a stone deity, she actually came out of the deity and killed, slain all the dacoits who were her worshippers, because they were about to torture the pure devotee Jad Bharat, who was the devotee of Krishna. So Mother Kali, Mother Durga, she is also a devotee of Krishna. So when we go to India and someone is worshipping Mother Kali, we don't act like, okay, I don't worship Kali, I don't like her, she is a demigod, she is less powerful, she is actually servant of Krishna. We don't behave like in a very what is called obnoxious way. We are humble, we go, we can pay obeisances, and we can come back, and in our minds we
We
can pray to her.
So physically, you pay obeisances with the left side of your body towards the demigods, or I'm talking, or
You
maybe
can pay
that's
obeisances from the left side of the body to the demigod, but in your mind thinking of your spiritual master.
okay. Okay,
Spiritual
thank you.
master, your guru. You are paying obeisances to your guru, and on behalf of your guru, you are offering respects to that
Yeah,
demigod in relation to Guru and in relation to Krishna. Not the whole purport is not to have obnoxious feelings and not to have divisive nature and not to have obnoxious behavior in front of people who are actually worshipping demigods. It's because it just pushes them away from Krishna.
Yeah,
what
because they
would? Mhm.
I do have like, my Prabhuji, as I said, like even though I was born in that family, my grandparents were strict Vaishnavas, Gaudiya Math. That time ISKCON didn't exist. It's
Hmm.
in West Bengal. I was born in Bengal, Kolkata,
Hmm.
previously called Calcutta. So I was born there, but I would see a lot more ritualistic. As I grew up, it felt easier for me to get attracted to Ganesha. And as I
Hmm.
said, because I was born in a Bengali family, in Bengal, Ma Kali and Durga is pretty strong. But
Hmm.
I feel like worshipping them brought me back to Krishna.
Got to.
Because I would always go and buy Krishna's portrait. I would always have
Hmm.
Gita in my purse, in
Hmm.
my bedside. And
Hmm.
I don't know why, but I would be attracted to them. And until a few years back, I'm strictly into Krishna things. So I have in my temple them,
Hmm.
but I see them as essence of Krishna. They are a lot more closer and senior. His left hand, right hand, whatever you call them, his waist, everything you can
Hmm.
call them, but they're powerful than me. I
Hmm.
don't know. So they are superior devotees of Krishna, and they are
Yes.
elevated devotee of Krishna. I'm nowhere there, a dust speck.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if we are taught to respect another devotee, no matter his or her level of knowledge and all,
Hmm.
because he or she is practicing Krishna consciousness, he's a Vaishnava. I'm supposed to look everybody alike. It's easier said than done, because if
Hmm.
someone is stoning me or hitting me, it's very hard to see Krishna in him. But that
Hmm.
is what we are told. So why not the demigods? I should be respecting
Hmm.
them because they are his generals.
Yes, exactly. So we are supposed to respect them. But once you have connected to Krishna directly, then you don't have any obligation to worship them anymore,
Okay.
because you're worshiping the Supreme Lord directly. Your then only obligation remains to Krishna, because they have done their job and brought you to Krishna.
Yeah.
Now it's completely a relationship that you have to develop with Krishna, because at the end of the day, you have to go back home, back to the planet of Krishna, and your
Yeah.
meditation on Krishna should be complete. There should be no space or no lacking, meaning when you have a complete meditation on someone, there is no other person which can enter into that meditation.
Yes,
So
Prabhuji.
slow, this is a natural progression, this is not an enforced progression, it happens over a period of time,
Yeah.
years, many
I
years.
have like Gopala like right now and all, yes, as you said. So I know like what for happened to me. So that's why I'm able to say it. So it's a very big
Yes,
shift,
you've
very
gone
big
through it.
shift. Yeah, very
You've
big
gone through
shift.
it.
Yes.
Wonderful, very beautiful. So all of this transition is a situation of heart, and it happens slowly over a period of time. My mother, when she would worship, she on our altar at home, we had everyone. So we had Ganesha, we had so many people, and I became well. I thought I became a devotee, but I told my mother, not to keep everyone on the altar of the worship. You can just have Krishna. But my mother wouldn't listen. She wouldn't listen like for 5 years, 6 years, until she herself became devotee of Krishna over a long period of time. And then also she couldn't remove the deities of so many people. Then suddenly one morning, I she just went, and her conviction and faith had completely transformed, in Krishnized. Her love for Krishna was overflowing, and suddenly from the altar everything was gone. There was only Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra left on the altar.
Yeah.
So it's not that others she didn't love, or it's just that now she wanted to focus completely on Krishna. And so this is a state of heart, and it's not enforced, and it has to come naturally. If it has to come, it has to come naturally only. And there is no harm in keeping Hanumanji, in keeping Ganesha and other devotees of the Lord on the altar. So
Yeah.
we just don't want divisiveness, and we don't want this viciousness in our behavior, viciousness in our personalities. We have to be soft, because Krishna is soft. Krishna is soft like a butter. So we also want to become like a soft personalities. That's why I take so much time on this demigod worship, because it's very not very easily understood. So we move ahead, and then now we discuss about impersonalist Mayavadis. Usually, when I speak on this topic, I need like 2-3 hours, but we have only somewhat 22 minutes or 18 minutes. So I'll try to speed this topic up, because now with all the demigods, it's more to do if you are in India. But most of us, we live in the West, and what kind of people we generally face in the West is a lot of them are actually impersonalists or Mayavadis, because a lot of the Western religions, they think of God as light. They like, take for example Christianity goes one step ahead. It does say God as light, but it also says God as loving father. So there is some relationship established. Okay, but you can't have a father who is a light, right? You have to have a person father. So there is one level of higher understanding that, okay, God may be like a loving person, but they don't accept God as a person, but because God is a light. So now my question to you all is, what is an impersonalist or Mayavadi?
May I start?
Yeah, go
Um,
ahead, please.
an impersonalist or Mayavadi doesn't see God as a person.
Hmm.
That's
Wonderful.
all I can. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly my expectation. Yes. Any other different thought? Vidisha, Roshni Mataji?
Is it that there's no superiority?
There is no superiority.
Like it's just oneness. Like there's no
One.
superior
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
inferior.
There is no superior and inferior. This is neutrality, or there is oneness essentially. Okay. So those people who believe in oneness, yes. Anything else, Vidisha?
They don't think God as a person.
They don't think God as a person. Yes. So in essence, both of these answers are correct. And depending on which perspective we take first, there are different categories of these impersonalists. Impersonalist is not one simple straightforward category. There are many different categories of impersonalists. Hmm? So one of the impersonalist is someone who thinks of God as light. So God is not a person, but God also doesn't have a form. God is light. So therefore, these scriptures, you will see the word as, mostly they will use the word as omnipotent, omniscient, unlimited. They will. So this is the common vocabulary these people use, is of an impersonal is like a light. Can you have a relationship with the light? No. Like there is a bulb on top of my head, there is light everywhere in this room. Can I have a relationship with this light? No, I can't have a meaningful bi-directional conversational relationship with this light. If you ask an impersonalist, say, yeah, you can have a relationship with this light. Light gives you some attributes, an attribute like brightness. Okay, that's great, but can I have more relationship, like a personal relationship with this attribute? No. If there is a person having an attribute, then I can have a relationship. So this is one category of people who believe that the God is light. There is another category of impersonalists who say that God is light, but that light can come inside a form and become a form. That doesn't mean that that form is God. It just means God is inside that person. Heard of this kind of a meaning? So this is very common also in India, not in the West. West people say that God is light, but if you go to eastern part of the world, you will specifically in India, there the kind of impersonalists are. Yes, okay, God is light, but that light has now entered into this person or into this form, and therefore this person, this form has amazing powers or amazing thing. But actually, this person itself is not himself is not God. The God has entered into the person. This is a very common misconception, which is very broadly and followed by masses in India. And people actually also use this conception interchangeably. You have something to say, Vijay Prabhu?
Yeah, is there also another category where people believe they can become one with God? Or is that not
Yes,
Mayavadis or impersonalists? That's
yes.
another category?
There is another category, which
Yeah.
is ekantavadis. So they think that that and I know of this category of a person in my family also. Like literally they say they think that they are God basically. And this category is basically they'll say that we are all God, right? From day one we are soul, and soul is actually God, and there is not many souls. They think that my soul, your soul, all souls are same soul. It's the same thing. They don't think that my soul and your soul are different. They think that we are all the same thing, and in reality there is only one soul, which is the universal soul. And so right now I am also God, you are also God, and everyone else is God. And some of them think that we will become God when we achieve this state called nirvana or moksha. They give different names to
Yeah.
it. Hmm.
And these are also impersonalists or Mayavadis?
These are also
Yeah. Okay.
Mayavadis. These are also categories.
Okay.
So there are Brahmavadis, then there are Mayavadis of different categories. One of the categories is God is always light, and I am. They don't know who they are at this point in time, so they think God is light, and maybe I will also merge into that light, and I am also a light. So I don't know if you've heard of Brahma Kumaris. They focus on light. I had an experience with one person. I had to stay for one night, and he was practicing this kind of thing. And I was in beginning days of my Krishna consciousness, like you. I was also learning in those days, and so in that one night there was an intense conversation with him. In his house there was this big picture, and in the middle of the picture there was this light. The diya, and he said, "This is God." I said, "This is God?" He said, "Yeah, we focus and meditate on this light." And he was telling me entire Bhagavatam. He was telling me Srimad Bhagavatam, but from the perspective of a Mayavadi. So I was shocked. I was shocked because whatever he was saying, I had heard the same things from devotees, but devotees had spoken to me. So I was very confused whether devotees were misleading me or whether this guy was misleading me. Often times you think, okay, devotees must be misleading you. So then, I started this journey of Srimad Bhagavatam, thankfully, and read Bhagavatam, and I'm continuing to read Bhagavatam. I can completely say that that person was a Mayavadi, was completely misrepresenting Srimad Bhagavatam in an impersonalist way, talking about Srimad Bhagavatam in an impersonalist way. So these are different categories of impersonalist. So in Bhagavad Gita, there are two verses which are like Brahmastra. I'm literally using the word Brahmastra, means nuclear weapons. Two verses in Bhagavad Gita which are like in the arsenal of a devotee who loves the form of Krishna, who is personal, he has two verses which are his most powerful arrows, uh, to actually shoot down any impersonalist. And those verses are these verses, chapter 7, verse 24, and another one is going to come in chapter 15, verse 8, I think. Do you all have copy of Bhagavad Gita with you?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, can you
Yeah.
please open up chapter 15, verse 8?
Mm, yes. Yes, Prabhu.
1 second. No, sorry, my apologies. Chapter 12, verse 5.
To 12.
Chapter 12, verse 5.
Yes, Prabhu.
Kiesho
Chapter
starts with Kiesho.
starts with klesha. Klesha means
Kiesho.
difficulty or problems.
Mm-hmm.
So, klesha adhikta raste sam avyakta asakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham. Krishna says avyakta means unmanifested or one that cannot be seen, or gatir goal dukkham. Those people who follow avyakta, or those people who follow impersonalism, their gati, their destination, their end outcome is dukkham. Avyakta hi gatir dukkham. Deha dabir abapyate. So this verse that we are going to read and this verse of 12th chapter 5th verse, these two are like brahmastra for anyone who is a personalist, because in these two words Krishna is directly telling Arjuna that I am not impersonal. And what is the destination of someone who is an impersonalist or someone who is a mayavadi? And this is why the beauty of Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is so high, because Prabhupada kept Bhagavad Gita as it is. If you take the same verse and go to a Mayavadi, they manipulate this verse, they manipulate the Sanskrit of this words, and they manipulate and say, oh, this is not Krishna speaking about him. This is Krishna, the person inside Krishna or the divinity inside Krishna is speaking like this. You see? Whereas the verse never says that there is a divinity inside me that is speaking like this. The verse is very clear. Krishna is saying directly from his own mouth and speaking about himself. Sanskrit is so simple. The translations are so direct and so clear. In spite of all of this, the Mayavadis will manipulate and reverse engineer this verse. This verse and the verse 24th and 24th, I think, in 7th chapter, which is again an armor that we have got. Huh. Those versions. 24th verse. This is 20. Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I am supreme personality of Godhead. Krishna was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Verse 24. So 7:24 and 12:5. 7:24 and 12:5. These are the two verses which can help a devotee defeat a non-devotee on the basis of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Non defeat impersonalists on the basis of Bhagavad Gita. And if you literally read the Sanskrit, it says avyaktam vyaktim apanna. Such people think that this avyakta or something that is unmanifest. Vyakta means manifested. Avyakta means that which is not manifested. So avyakta means unmanifested, which means impersonal God. That I am impersonal. Vyakti means my personality is impersonal. Huh? Manyate mam abuddhaya. Krishna is calling them abuddhaya. Buddhi means intelligence. Abuddhaya means unintelligent. That such people who think that I am avyakta, I am unmanifested, who think that my victim, my personality is unmanifested, Krishna is directly telling them, abuddhaya, they are without intelligence. There can be no direct, and this is why Prabhupada calls Bhagavad Gita as it is. All other translations have manipulated this verse. So in this verse, Krishna, what Krishna says about impersonal is Krishna is calling them abuddha, the foolish thing that I, the supreme person, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Huh? They think that the impersonal, formless Brahman has manifested an illusory form as myself. So they think that some energy has entered into a human body, and that human body is called Krishna. And that energy is the Supreme Lord, actually, that unmanifested, unlimited Lord. So Krishna is saying that they do not know my true nature, form, qualities, which is imperishable and the finest. Something you were saying, Vidisha Mataji?
No, Prabhuji. Sorry.
So essentially, Krishna is calling them abuddhaya. And even, no, before we go to this, I want to say, even when Krishna was personally present in the material world, then a lot of the people, could not see Krishna, or they thought Krishna was an ordinary man. We have learned those four categories of people, dushkritinas, and in one of the categories of dushkritina is like Maya Aprita Jnana, very learned, very scholars, but actually they think of Krishna as an ordinary person. Hmm? So many categories of impersonalists. There is a category of impersonalists which are called Brahmavadis. That Lord is in the form of light or Brahman, but they are not. They don't reject that Lord can also have a form. They are like in the middle ground. They think that the Lord is like light, but they also do not accept, or they do not also confirm that Lord can take personalities, meaning the same unlimited, not just entering into a body and becoming a person, but in reality they can also be a personality. So there is this category of Brahmavadis whose heart is like in between. So who were such kind of Brahmavadis? Four Kumaras. Four Kumaras, the small boys of Lord Brahma, they were Brahmavadis, or believer in the form, in the existence of Lord as light, but they were not averse to a conception of Lord having a form. So when actually they went to Vaikuntha planet, they smelled the tulsi. You smell the tulsi every morning. So they smelled the tulsi coming, the fragrance coming from the lotus feet of the Lord. Immediately they have a conversion of their heart. Immediately their heart transformed. Immediately they started to love the form of the Lord. So this is there is so therefore, when devotees go out on book distribution, when we do sessions, when we do discourses, you all in future will come across friends, relatives, family members, or people on streets, and you, because you are all imbued with love of Krishna, you are wanting to spend time to understand Krishna. When you will know Krishna, you want to tell others about Krishna at some point. And when you want to tell people about Krishna, you will face this impersonalist Mayavadis. So, do we not tell Mayavadis about Krishna? Um, you can tell Mayavadis about Krishna, because you don't know that every type of Mayavadi is which category of Mayavadi. Initially, they are all believers of light, but under the hood, there are categories. They are believers of light, but they are not averse to the idea that God can have a form. So, this is the most conducive category of Mayavadi, who can actually transform from Mayavad to devotion. Then there are hardcore Mayavadis who says that God cannot have a form ever. And then there are these Ekantavadis which says that, okay, I am God and everyone's soul is the same soul, and I am God right now, or I will become God in future. God doesn't become God. Simple point. Krishna, when he was born, even at day one, he touched Trinavarta with his toe, and this cart demon flew like millions, 1,000 kilometers, and then fell down. He killed Putna when he was just small baby. So Krishna didn't become God after attaining certain age or after some time. God is always God and at all times. This is also one of the definitions of God. So these people who say, "Oh, I am covered now by illusion, and now in future I will become God," this is all foolish topics. Very no common sense, basically. I will also speak about Shunyavadis in this conversation. Have you heard of Shunyavadis or Buddhists, voidists?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So they
Buddhists,
are
yeah, but what did you say? Boilists? Oh,
voidists.
voidists. Yeah, I forgot about those. Yeah, Buddhists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they are Shunyavadis or voidists. And when I used to do book distribution, I used to come across some of these Buddhists, and they would always come and challenge me. And they say, everything is void. And I would tell them, okay, everything is void, then why do you have a form now? Why have you taken this human form now? Say, no, after this material body is finished, then I will become a void. So now, I don't know if you have heard, you've these Buddhists, they have a concept of reincarnation. They have the Lama, Dalai Lama, and he reincarnates again as a boy, and so they accept the concept of reincarnation. Okay, so if you are a voidist who believe that actually the human body is only chemicals, it doesn't have a soul, so their voidist means no soul, basically. So they think that the human body is just chemical, and there is everything is laws of action and reaction, which is law of karma. So they believe strongly in laws of karma, and they believe everything is just material chemical combinations. So then I ask a simple question to them. So what is reincarnating? Can you tell me what reincarnates? If you are a Voidist, if you are a Buddhist, don't believe in the existence of soul, how does reincarnation take place? What reincarnates? Do you
I
know
bet
what reincarnates?
I bet they can't answer that.
So, yeah, it's a big problem for them to actually answer this question. They themselves don't know what reincarnates. Sorry, bear with me. I've got someone from the RAC calling. Just bear with me a moment. Till the time, please ponder on this. Yeah, so these Buddhists, they also don't know what reincarnates, because actually reincarnation is of the soul. But they say, oh, this matter disappears in the cosmos, and then cosmos will bring away all the same elements, and then it will, the person will reincarnate. But with reincarnation, there is some memory of the past life. There is this karma and everything else that comes back. So if the information is dissipated into the cosmos, is dissipated into this whole universe, where every single atom is randomly moving. So understand that the information of being a human and all this memory is lost into the cosmos. How can that information then be collected back and created into a new form? Who does that? How does it happen if there is no external energy, no external source, everything is void? Then who brings all of this information together? They have no clear answer for this. Yet Buddhism is one of the best, topmost philosophies of the world. So bear with me, someone's at my door. I think it must be people from RSC. Just bear with me a moment. Yeah, so speaking of the voidists, Buddhists, and so they are also a category of impersonalists. Usually we use a separate word for them and we call them voidists, impersonalists and voidists. So Krishna calls them foolish, and this is the verse, 24th verse, which you can quote. I think we have just gone 7 minutes or time, so we are almost done. So this is a question, okay, if Krishna has a beautiful form, qualities, and pastimes, then why we regular people do not see these things? Why can't we see Krishna essentially? And what about people who are not detached from matter? Sorry, who are detached from matter, like many impersonalists. So there are many impersonalists who are great yogis, so they're actually very powerful people, powerful yogis. And so this category of people, take for example, Shishi Ravi Shankar. You've heard of him? Art of Living?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
So Art of Living is basically, they are a Mayavadi category where they believe that the supreme light has entered a human being. So they accept Krishna as, sometimes some of them call God, sometimes they will say, yeah, he's God, but he's impersonal God, because he actually, God is light and light entered into the body of Krishna, like that. So Buddhists are voidists, but why can't we see Krishna? The question is very simple. Regular people can't see Krishna. Even people who are doing so much tapasya or austerities, they also can't see Krishna. Is it so difficult to see Krishna? So the question is, why don't we see Krishna?
Because we see through material eyes
We'll
and
see it.
not.
Any other answer?
Because we could try to see him through our senses.
Through our senses, yes. We're trying to see through our material existence, yes. Roshni, anything else?
Um, yeah, we don't have the spirit vision to see.
We don't have spiritual vision to see the Lord. Okay. See what Krishna says in verse 25. He says, Krishna reserves the right of not revealing himself to all. He says, I am not manifest to everyone always, like the sun. Sun is manifest to everyone, but Krishna is not manifest. I am covered by my internal potency, like the cloud. Therefore, the foolish people who do not know that I am unborn and infallible. So, we cannot see Krishna because Krishna is not manifest to ourselves.
Yoga Maya, no?
Yeah, Yog Maya covers, but the question is Krishna covered, or our vision is covered? The answer is our vision is covered. Krishna is not covered. So, who saw Krishna as God when he was personally present? Do you know? Krishna was personally present few thousand years ago. So, who saw him as God?
The Nityas,
Pardon?
Nityas,
Nitya?
he comes with his entourage, right? Whenever he is born.
Yes, 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 yes. But he was present personally on earth. So the whole earth should have seen Krishna, right? And
Yeah.
seen him as God. So the question, but that's not the truth. When Krishna was personally present on this material planet, not everyone actually saw him as God.
No.
Duryodhan couldn't see him as God. He was thinking of him as a cowherd boy. That's it.
Yeah,
You know,
he gave his true form. Duryodhan also saw his true form, but he couldn't still realize.
he couldn't still see it.
Yeah.
Pondraka, Pondraka declared that Pondrak is Krishna. Pondrak declared that he was Vasudev. So in front of Krishna, Pondrak said, I am Krishna. So Krishna had a hearty laugh. Krishna laughed, his whole assembly laughed. So people can't see God even if God is in front of them, because God reserves the right to reveal himself. Right? God, Krishna reveals the right to reveal himself. So Lord is, and another point is, Lord is not covered by illusion. but our vision is, like all of you just now answered, we are seeing Krishna from material senses. So our senses are blunt, so we can't see Krishna. But if our senses are not blunt and they are spiritualized, then we can see Krishna. So it's not that the Lord is covered, but our vision is covered. That's because, we are under this material conditioning. And then from these verses, these are transcending delusion and approaching devotion. So essentially, Krishna says that I know everything, past, present, and future, O Arjuna, but no one knows me. So really, okay, we understand that Krishna know everything, but why does no one know Krishna? This question comes right from this verse. Krishna knows past, present, and future. He knows everyone, everything. But Krishna says no one knows me. So why does no one know Krishna?
Because they haven't earned it.
Because they haven't earned it. Okay. So Krishna is a very stringent and very frugal, and people have to really work up to actually see Krishna.
Yeah, but didn't you just give the answer before
The
this?
Krishna reserves the right to
Yeah, he
reveal
reserves the
himself.
right to reveal himself, and
Yeah, that's
he
right.
will
But
reveal
does that?
himself. He will
Yeah.
reveal himself to those that have proved love and devotion and devotional service.
Yes.
That's all I
Yes.
can think of.
No, that's a very straight, correct answer. I'm looking for something also a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts? Okay, so why does no one else know Krishna? No one else knows Krishna is because of this verse 27. Krishna says all living entities are born into delusion, sammoham, at the beginning of creation, and are bewildered by dualities, dvandva. This word which is highlighted in front of you, dualities. This is the reason we don't know Krishna. We say, oh, yeah, our senses are blunt. We don't have love for Krishna. But in reality, is our mind and our senses, they are inside dvandva, under dualities. And because of dualities, we cannot see Krishna. Mhm. So, is there anyone free from this delusion of dvandva or dualities? What are qualities of such a person? Because of dualities of love, hatred, raga, dvesha, honor and dishonor, respect and disrespect. So, because of these dualities, we are under these things, dvandva. Therefore, we can't see we can't see Krishna, and this is how it was designed at the beginning. So, the simple point is, someone can see Krishna if they come out of the dualities, right? Straightforward positive statement would be, I would be able to see Krishna if I come out of the dualities, I come out of the dvandva. So is there anyone free from this dvandva, free from these dualities? Have you seen any person who is free from such dualities? Hatred and distress and honor and dishonor is always equipoised. You have heard this many times in Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? All of these qualities.
Persons in the mode of goodness.
Mhm. Yeah, but the persons in the mode of goodness are also in dualities. Even the
Okay, persons in the pure goodness.
persons in pure goodness, yes.
In pure goodness.
Pure goodness. Shuddha sattva. Yes, it's true. So persons in state of pure goodness, but essential idea is in you have to transcend dualities. You have to transcend dualities. Only then you will be able to. So who can? The question was asked is who can actually transcend the dualities, and Krishna says that. You can transcend the dualities and approach devotion if you have these qualities, and these are very high standards of qualities. um, One whose sins are eradicated. So these are the people who can transcend dualities. One whose sins are eradicated, one who has acted piously in previous and present lives, one who is freed from dualities of delusion, engages in my service with determination. So now a big problem comes, right? We I don't know about you. I know about myself. I can say my sins are not eradicated. I sin on a daily basis. I walk, I killed so many ants. I have material desires. I don't know if I've acted piously in my past lives, and I don't know if I'm acting piously all the time in this life. And I'm pretty sure I'm not freed from all the dualities. I have distress and I have, all those things. So then that means that I cannot engage in devotional service with determination. Is that true or a wrong statement?
I think you can engage in service with the capacity that you have with determination, but with the capacity that you have to the best of your ability. I can't say it any
Okay.
other way.
Okay. Okay. Close, but not the answer. Bi- So my apologies, Bidisha and Roshni Mataji.
No, it's okay.
I don't think day one you don't have it as a determination because day
Hmm.
one you're
Hmm.
not the exalted devotee.
Correct.
But if you take a vow and if you're disciplined,
Hmm.
and if you want to, some days you will be fully submerged and some days you will
Hmm.
not. But I think
Correct.
with discipline and practice and your wish, and if you're grateful, and I mean, like,
Hmm.
I may not see Krishna in a person form. Maybe if I get to see it, I might die from this body. My soul will come out because I don't
Hmm.
have the capacity like
Hmm.
Arjuna to see him in that form, even.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
but that slowly builds in the determination
That
because
slowly builds. How does that build? That's the question, right? How does that build?
I'm like worshiping him, chanting him, reading
You
scripture.
both, yeah, you both have given a good answer, not a complete answer. The question really is how does that build? How does someone come to the stage of determined bhakti? Because to come to the stage of determined bhakti, you have to have zero sins presently and in the past lives, free from
Acting
dualities.
piously,
Hmm?
acting piously, pious
Acting
activities.
pious activities, yes. But it's not possible in Kali Yuga to do completely all pious activities. You may go eat, eat something like crisps, and the potatoes have been coming from a farm, from a farmer who actually eats meat. So no matter how much you try, the Kali Yuga will always trick you into something. So we can't be completely fully pious. Our sins, specifically in Kali Yuga, can't be completely eradicated. And we are definitely, I can speak for myself, not free from the dualities of delusion.
You're
So then,
speaking for me too. You're speaking for me as well.
Yeah, I'm like we're bottom of
okay.
bottom for me. Yeah.
No, no. So anything else, Roshni? Do you have any other perspective into this?
Uh,
Um, engaging in devotional service.
Okay, but what if you can't engage in devotional service with determination? So you are flaky. Flaky in the sense you do some days, you don't do some days. And this happens because your sins are not eradicated. You are acting, but
Spiritual monks,
sorry.
you take the guidance of the spiritual master.
You're coming to very close to very good answer. Elucidate further.
Um, because the spiritual master takes away this
Okay, okay. I'll tell you
energy.
the answer. Answer is you almost got the answer. So congratulations, Roshni. And the answer really is association. The
mm.
only way to come out of this and have determined bhakti is association with pure devotees of the Lord. Association is the most important. So this is, oh my God, do we know if we have acted piously or since does this mean we cannot engage in devotional service? No, you can engage with devotional service with determination as long as you have association. If you don't have association, then this will not be possible for you to maintain. Simple as that.
So you did give us a clue when you said A, B, C, D.
My apologies.
No, you
So
did give
what?
us a clue. You did. The first thing was association. You did.
So Roshni came very close to an answer. She said, "Okay, I don't know the answer. Let me approach a guru." I don't know the answer. Let me approach someone who knows the answer. And that is the first point of association. When you approach someone, you're associating with that person. And similarly, to actually engage in devotional service with determination, you got to have friends. You got to have devotee friends. And you got to have people to whom you can open your heart to. And you can, so there are three levels of association. One is someone who is senior to you. You should have that, and someone who is at your level also, so you can see that, okay, someone's next to me, I'm going in the right direction, I'm not walking alone. So you should have friends and devotee community who are at similar spiritual levels as you. And then you should have someone who is senior to you, from whom you can approach and get guidance. And then once you mature sufficiently for some time, then you can also look after someone. So having association with devotees who are below you, or who are new devotees, or who are newly trying to learn about Krishna. So you should also give such people association and inspire them and tell them about Krishna, like that. So these are the three associations, and without these association, we cannot be sustainably engaged in devotional service. Of the three association of pure devotee is the most important. All three are needed, must haves, but of the three must haves, the most important one is association of a pure devotee. Only because of them we are able to be engaged in a steady determination, with steady determination. And then Krishna finally says here that intelligence person striving for liberation from old age and death, take my shelter in devotional service. So now Krishna is speaking of the sixth category of a devotee, moksha kami bhakta, that is a bhakta desiring liberation. So this is also comes under sakama bhakta. Sakama bhakta means people, devotees who have some kama, who have some desires. Arto Arti Gyanicha Bharata Rishabha. So inquisitive, distressed, desirer of the wealth, and someone who is after knowledge of Krishna. These are the four Sakama Bhaktas. But now this is the fifth category of Sakama Bhakta, which is someone who is actually desiring liberation from old age and death. Old age and death are not very pleasant, and so some people who are in spiritual realization, they actually desire freedom from this old age and death, because old age brings a lot of diseases and death is not very pleasant. So such people actually know about old age and death, and Prabhupada therefore says that there is this category of Sakam Bhaktas which are desiring freedom from old age and death. Prabhupada says those who are engaged in worshipping the form or archa of the Lord, or who are engaged in meditation on the Lord simply for liberation from material bondage, also know by the grace of the Lord the purports of Brahman. So by grace of the Lord, they will know about the Lord. And then verse 30, essentially Krishna is saying, um, those who know me as Adi Bhuta, governing principle of material manifestation, Adi Deva, controller of the demigods, and Adi Yagna, the Lord of all sacrifices, and are in full consciousness of me, can understand me even at the time of death. So if you have to understand Krishna even at the time of death, then you have to know Krishna as the governing principle of all manifestation, controller of all the demigods. So we just now studied about demigods, but you have to know about Krishna as above demigods. So this knowledge that no, Krishna is not one of the demigods. Krishna is not one of the forms. Krishna is actually the governing principle of all manifest. Everything is manifested from Krishna, and actually all the demigods come inside under Krishna, and all the sacrifices, all the tapasya that I'm doing in my life is for Krishna only. So if you have cultivated this consciousness throughout your life, then even at the time of death, then you can prana kale, you can understand Krishna. So essentially, there are seven things Krishna mentions: Brahma or Brahman, actually, Adhyama, Karma, Adibhuta. Adibhuta means governing principles. Adideva means the original controller of all the demigods. Adi Yagna means the Lord of the sacrifices, and Prana Kale at time of the death. Arjun is going to ask question in next chapter, beginning verses, based on these 7 points. And now, before we end this session, this is a question to you. What are the 6 types of devotees mentioned in this chapter? Do you remember? Or let me.
Has that got to do with the relationship, the rasas?
No.
There are like some will ask for wealth, some will
Correct.
want to know him, like the uh, people who are already wise and gyani, we call it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Gyani.
some just want to know more who is Krishna.
Right. Inquisitive.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
some are like distressed, and
Yes. Wonderful.
so one
Those are the four. Those are the four categories of Sukritina or pious people. Arto,
then
Arti. Yeah.
then one who is like I think you called about like Kevala Bhakta, which we studied before.
Wonderful. 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 So Kevala Bhakta is not Sakama. He had no desires. So they are one-pointed devotees of the Lord. So Kevala Bhakta, wonderful. And what is the sixth one?
And the first one you said like one who wants to get rid of this cycle of birth and death and
Wonderful. Wonderful. Mataji is very attentive. I really appreciate that. Um, so this is the Moksha Kami Bhakta, or one who is desiring liberation from old age and death. So these are the six type of devotees mentioned in this chapter. Okay. So thank you so much. We are slightly over time. Do you have anything to share? Any question you want to ask before we end this session?
Yeah, it's more practical. I thought, was the idea we were going to start chapter 8 today? Or
No,
is that,
it's no. So
that wasn't the goal?
I don't go by one session should finish one chapter.
Okay.
I go by whether the concept has been clearly understood by the student or not.
Okay. Thank you.
So whether it takes 2 sessions or 10 sessions, important Bhakti Shastri. Actually, every verse of Bhagavad Gita can take many months and weeks. Unfortunately, I don't get that luxury, but it's more important for us to have the conversations around deeper topics. Otherwise, we will miss what is actually needed. So I might end up taking 5 Sundays, 7 Sundays, 10 Sundays. I don't know. I'll go by the section and the theme, and also by how much questions I get back,
Okay.
and
And
how much time.
I did have one other question, I'm sorry. And that had
Yeah.
to do with Duskrita, huh? I had it down incorrectly because I had 4 categories. I had Duskritaha, Mudaha, Naradamaha, and Asuram Bhavam
Ashrita.
Ashritaha.
Yeah.
But that was wrong because it's those are only 3 types of Duskritaha. Is that correct?
No, there are 4 types of Dushkritis.
Yeah. The one I didn't have was Maya
Aprita Jnana.
Yeah. So I had it in 4 categories: Duskritaha, Mudaha, Naradamaha, and Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha. And that's incorrect because the
So
last
yeah,
3,
that's incorrect. Because
yeah,
Dushkrita is a higher category under which all the remaining 4 come. So all 4 are
okay,
Dushkritas, and
yeah,
and the 4 categories are Maya, Pritagyana, Asurim Bhavamashritaha, Moodha, and Naradhama.
yeah, okay.
So I'll repeat. Moodha means fool. Nara Adhama means fallen human being, or human being who has fallen. Adhama. Nara means man, and Adhama means fallen, or lower man. So Naradhama is one who has fallen from practices.
Yeah,
And
I
then
have lowest amongst mankind.
lowest amongst mankind. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have got Maya Aprita Jnana. Aprita means kidnapping or losing. So one who has lost Jnana because of illusion or delusion. So they try to read so many Vedas, and then they can't come to a clean conclusion because they are deluded who is God. So because of too much knowledge. And then last one is Ashritim, Asurim. Asurim, Sura means devotees, and Asura means non-devotees or demons.
Yeah,
Asurim Bhava.
I have it down as atheist with a demoniac nature, or one of the
Perfect.
other. That's
Perfect.
okay.
This is it. Yeah, atheists essentially. So these are the 4 categories. And the
Okay.
purport on these 4 categories is very, very, very beautiful. Please read the purports Prabhupada has given and you will relish it.
That's verse 7, isn't it?
Yes. Okay, any other questions? No. Okay. So thank you so much for your attention. This is a very enlightened group, and I'm really fortunate to have you all. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next session. Chapter 8 we'll begin with. And when we begin with chapter 8, we will very quickly revise chapter 7, like what we did today. So, in the meantime, please do your own reflection, go and read the purports. And if you have questions or comments or thoughts or any realizations that you get within this 1 week, then please do share with me at the beginning of next week. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol, Prabhu, Hari Bol.
Hare
Bol.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.